at the age, they had the information, they would just send them a free razor and some cartridges. Most of those guys continue to, they're like, oh, I got this free, I'm going to use it. When they ran out, because that's the product they were familiar with, that was all the advertising that Gillette really had to do to gain, a big following, was just send the guy the free product. He didn't need to research, he didn't need to do anything. You put a woman in that same aisle, she's going to meander. She's going to look at every single one. It's not just like, oh, what's the best one? Throw it in the basket. Me, like, I went back and forth when I don't shave my legs, I wax them now, so I don't participate in that stuff. But I would usually get the guy razors because me and my girlfriends were all convinced that they worked better. Now, whether or not they did, but it wasn't important for us to have the tab. I didn't care enough to have the pink, but I do know females that they'll pay an extra $5 for pink razors. And you're right. Look at a men's commercial versus a female commercial when it comes to those types of like personal care products. That's actually a really good point that you brought up, Hitch, that I didn't even think about, is the marketing behind it. And the way that they
Hey, Heather,
marketed
I've got
razors to dudes is they just gave them a free one. And chances are they would, when their razors went dull, because it's already what they had, they would just go buy the cartridges that worked for that one. Whereas women, we're always like, what's I don't know. I agree with you on that.
Heather, I have a quick question for you. Is the opposite true? Are there examples you can think of a macho tax, things that appeal to men the same way, that yes, this is more manly, so I'll pay more for this particular model brand because I'm a dude.
No, as a woman who shops, Brett doesn't go clothes shopping. I buy all of Brett's clothes when I'm out and about doing stuff. I buy all of my son's clothes when I'm out and about doing stuff. My son's clothes are far cheaper than all of the girls' clothes. Like, I don't have to get my son accessories, like maybe a hat or whatever, but it's pretty much, we're in Florida, t-shirts and shorts. But even his t-shirts and his shorts are like $1 or $2 cheaper than girls. But again, if you are a boy of a mom, or excuse me, a boy of a mom, a parent of boys or girls, and you've gone clothing shopping, you will also see that the selection for girls' clothing is way bigger than what it is for the boys' clothing. And that's just because I think women are just naturally bigger consumers. And so people can get away with taxing, because if a woman wants something, she wants it. Whereas a guy is a little bit more practical about it. And so, yeah, I do think that women products are more expensive to an extent, but it's because female purchasing power, at least in the United States, is like 85 to 90% is females are doing the most purchasing. And if they're doing the grocery shopping and household buying, that makes sense, right? But in the scheme of things, even when it comes to like frivolous items, women hold they're like first place for spending the most. And so, corporations are smart. They can get away with it.
Again, just my speculation, but I don't think they're just charging more for the same product. I think the product must be different, and there must be something to do with fabrication, or maybe it's overhead for advertising costs. There must be a reason why they're charging more, and I don't think it's just, well, because we can. I think there must be.
But even Hitch, like, think about it, like those lubricating strips, those I would assume are probably pennies on the dollar. So even if they added an extra couple lubricating strips, right, on the razors, that's not going to be enough to explain a $2 to $3 increase in product based off of the small, when you're making these at scale, a handle or designing this or whatever the case may be, it's not worth an extra $2 to $3 for the product you're getting. I think a lot of it is just they know women will buy it.
I've never worked in razor fabrication, but I would guess it's not just the cost of the it's not just the cost of the strip. I assume there's some engineering that goes into those razors. You got to make room, you've got to decide where you're going to put it, you got to get what brand, you got to do the testing, and then you have to fabricate it. If it's gonna be like the high tier one with the 5 fins and the 2 strips, That's going to be fabricated, I don't know, on a different machine, but at least it's going to have to be its own line. Whereas if you've only got one kind of type or one or two types that are simple, they cost less to produce because they're less intricate, less complicated. So it's not just materials; it's all the stuff that goes into it in the background. Would be my guess. I do take your point. It doesn't look like it should cost that much, but yeah, I'm guessing all that stuff plays into it. Last thing I'll say is, if I wanted to be cynical, I could, I would say that it's not that they just say, all right, we're just adding 15% because we can, because we know women will pay it. They could have known, like the marketing companies, let's take razors, right? They'll bring out three lines of razors for women. One will have like rainbows and butterflies and be colorful and this sexy shape like an hourglass, blah, blah, blah. The other one will be in the middle, and then the other one will be cheaper. And maybe the manufacturers notice, the companies, well, women are always buying the most expensive one. Why are they so? In knowing that, then okay, they will just focus all their money on putting. It's kind of like if anyone knows the butcher's trick. Chicken is like whatever $9.99 a kilo, whatever it is. But if you put barbecue sauce, now you can charge $16 a kilo instead of $9 a kilo. And barbecue sauce does not cost $7 a kilo. So I suspect this is what razor companies and that are doing. They're just adding a couple of little bells and whistles because they know they can charge more and women will pay it. But the extra bells and whistles do cost a little bit extra. But they also know that this will entice women to get it. So that would be my guess. It's a combination of they know women are willing to pay more because women want to spoil themselves. Wasn't there? There's an ad that was like, because you're worth it, right? You're worth it. You deserve it. You deserve better. This is basically women's self-talk in their brain. You deserve the razor. Who cares if it costs 30? So I think manufacturers know this. They just add a couple of bells and whistles, maybe change a color, maybe make it a little bit different shape, which does add extra cost. But they do this because they've known women would pay for it. What do you think, Heather?
Oh, 100%. I co-sign on that. Women buy out of emotion. What's going to make them feel good? What's going to make them, look good? What's going to make them whatever, and again, men, it's all about practicality. Oh, does this soap work? Oh, this soap not only washes my body and my hair and it conditions it. Bargain. Like, that's a guy for you. Women, we're going to have to get like 17 different products to do all three of those.
Yes, absolutely spot on.
It's actually funny, Hitch. Actually, we got a promo box from Logan Paul's deodorant line or something sent to our house, and I've been using the same deodorant forever. Well, when I ran out, I was like, "Oh, I'm not even gonna go to the store and buy it." So I just tried it. It actually worked better than the deodorant I've been using. And I work in Florida. I'm soaking wet all the time when I'm outside working. And when I had this deodorant on, I was like, I can't smell myself. It's noon. Normally, I can smell myself by noon. Like it's horrible. And it was just that easy. I didn't need advertisements, no nothing. Just send me a box. I'll try it. If it works, it works, and we stick with it. Guys will switch over to any product if they say it's better. Well, your advertisement isn't really going to work on me because I'm a creature of habit. But if you send me a free one, I'll give it a shot. Why not? What's nothing, no money out of my pocket. And if it works, I immediately make the switch, and then I'm forever buying that. It's just that simple for guys.
Yeah, I used to use all these different roll-on products, and then like sprays, and then dry spray, and I tried all this shit when I was in high school for like antiperspirant, and I mean it worked. I'd have to reapply, blah blah blah. First time I tried the speed stick, I don't know if you guys have speed stick over there. The fucking speed stick worked perfectly. I didn't smell, kept me dry. I didn't sweat. I don't know what the fuck was going on. All I know is that it worked, and I've been using the speed sticks since high school, and not just that, they tried bringing out these new iterations of speed sticks, and I'm like, fuck off. The original one works the best. Give me the original. I don't want this other one, this sports one, and this fucking marathon one. Fuck off. Just give me the original speed stick. And I remember once I drove to 3 supermarkets because they run out of speed stick, and they had heaps of other like ones on the shelf. I'm like, no, fuck off. Speed stick is the only one that works. So yeah, I completely agree. And I still use it today. It's great. Men know what they like and like what they know. Fact check true. Now, Maritia's been very, very patient. Maritia, thank you for your patience, my dear. Please jump in. We'd love to hear from you. I see Nico's got his hand up. I also want to check in with Jane, Barbie, and David. Shout out and take it from there. Maritia, how's it going?
Good, no problem. I was on the gossiping on the timeline. And that's why I interrupted you when you asked the question to skip them, because I was completely disassociated. I was just listening, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, the question's for me. Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone in the room. Yes, good afternoon, Hitch. So before you ask your first question, can I ask you a question?
Of course,
and
yeah. Of course.
I'm happy that I didn't forget my question, because, you know, ADHD has people say I forget everything. So my question is, whenever I always been like this, whenever I see a beautiful woman, whether I am in a relationship or not, even if it would be an occasion where the women's wearing the same clothes or even looking better, like bigger butt or, you know, curvy, nice, busty, whatever you guys want to, you name it, I get curious about, like, I want to make friends with them. Even if I'm in a relationship, I don't feel competitive. I don't feel threatened. Maybe because I'm too self-confident. I don't know how my question is, why do you think a girl like me, instead of trying to compete, I try to make friends with the most beautiful women? And I get genuinely curious, like, how does she does her hair? How does, you know, I want to make friends like in the time of the primary and high school. And so much that I had a problem once I was doing holidays in Spain. There was 2 girls in the same gym I was going like every day, and they were training together. And I was all the time observing how they were training, working out. I was alone. And one of the girls, you know, the brunette one, wanted to fight with me. Hey, if you stay looking, you know, she wanted to hit me and fight. And then I was like, what? She's angry. And I said, no, actually, I was looking to you girls because I found you beautiful. You have a well-trained body. And I was just admiring. I was not jealous or envious or something. That's something in the head of the women. I mean, I'm not generalizing, but usually a girl like me, I'm curious about people. I don't feel competitive, and I actually don't care if a woman is wearing the same clothes, or if she, except I will, you know, I'm extremely honest. I don't like to pretend to be hypocrite or to do a gimmick and pretend someone I'm not. If I'm with a partner and there is a hot woman and she's looking too much to my man, then I will not like it. But how she looks like, I actually don't give a damn. It's just she doesn't come in my territory and take my man away from me. She can be as she wants. It doesn't bother me. So my question is,
how come you're not competitive with other women, but other women are competitive with other women? Is that your question?
Yes, my question is, why don't I care if they are calling more attention than me in the room? Because I actually don't care if people are not validating me, because I'm pretty much busy inside of my own head.
Now, you said before you have autism, is that right?
Yeah, I'm a high systemizer, autistic. Yes, I'm always doing math in my head about everything and analyzing everything.
That's where I do it.
Say again, David.
That's where I do math.
Yeah, I don't. I do math about everything, even about people. I'm curious. I'm just really extremely curious. So, do you think that has to do with my autism?
I do. I'm gonna just have a guess here. So generally speaking, and you know, I'm not diagnosing you or whatever, like you said, you have autism, but people so there's 2 types of empathy. There's cognitive empathy and affective empathy. There's probably more, but those are the 2 main kinds I talk about. So cognitive empathy is basically theory of mind. You know, you can intellectualize what someone else is thinking. So if they're, you know, shifting on their chair over and over, you know, you will look at them, you'll realize that, hey, they're shifting on their chair, and you'll say, hey, this person's probably uncomfortable. That's cognitive empathy. Affective empathy is the feeling you get from either reading someone's mind, understand what they're feeling, or even just actually, no, that is correct. So affective empathy is the feeling that you feel when intuiting what someone else is thinking or feeling or what they're going through. So if someone's thinking or feeling or going through something bad, you will feel it yourself. They used to use this term mirror neurons, but mirror neurons are mostly bullshit. Or they're not, they're not what they claim to be anyway. So autistic people and psychopaths have the opposite issue.
True. I had a test in my diagnostic, autism diagnostic, and the doctor, she said, I'm going to explain what we found here in your test. You have very low affective empathy to almost none. It's dropped to the floor. That's why we're suspecting of you being psychopath, but we test it's not a psychopathy because you have extremely high cognitive empathy, and Barrow Cohen test you pointed even higher than men's autistic men. You are 51.7. That means I cannot simulate other people's emotions and situation, but I can. That's why I get curious, because I want to know what they're thinking and feeling.
so
and
that's
so
why I think
I don't look at their parents and the hierarchy of someone and what they have or something. I don't care. I'm systemizing everything. That's why I'm also not buying women things, because I look to the price and I don't care what other people think.
That's why I think probably, mention about you're not as competitive, etc., etc. It's likely due to the autism as it relates to cognitive empathy and affective empathy. Women are highly empathetic, and they're constantly reading other women's thoughts and minds. And, women have evolved to kind of keep the peace and to agree with consensus. Whereas autistic people, on average, they're not as concerned about that. And in fact, they're often considered very disagreeable. So they're not as.
Why is it disagreeable? It's so absurd. Like, we can learn. I think that the person, when they, when a female friend or anyone is talking bad about someone so much for me in private, I say, stop. Why don't you try to make friends with them and know what they're thinking and know how they are? Yeah.
Did I answer your question? Did you get a satisfaction?
Yeah, I think, I didn't, I even forgot about that, because you just said something which is really, it tracks. Yes.
Yeah, let me just tell the people, in case they don't know, psychopaths have very good cognitive empathy. So that's how they manipulate people. They can read people's mind, and they will fake and pretend and manipulate a person because they know what the person wants. But they don't have any affective empathy. That is to say, they don't feel anything. Despite they don't feel bad or feel guilty. And if a dog's in a way, they'll just run it over and they won't care because they have very bad affective empathy. Autistic people generally have the opposite problem. They have a lot of affective empathy. They feel things very strongly, but they have poor cognitive empathy. They can't put themselves in other people's shoes and understand what the other people are thinking. So cognitive affective empathy, autistic and psychopaths have the opposite kind of issue in terms of what they're affected by.
Your other question was about how you say the price of things and shares.
Yes.
Whatever.
Would you spend extra money, or would you buy the men's product? What would you do?
I told you already. I commented under your post that I usually buy the men's product, even showering in gel. I always look the price and I smell it. And if it doesn't have strong smell, and I use even the same perfume for over 2 years, and I have many colorful pinks, whatever clothes, but I repeat all my black clothes. I'm very low maintenance. Because I look the price, I think, well, why they make things expensive for women? Why those women, they buy it? Why they feel like I have to have it? And I think, it's, for me, it's about math. And if it's practical, I want to make everything practical. And I don't care what the other people think and what they will think about me and about what I'm wearing or buying. I think if I cannot sell it later, then I'm wasting money. Then I'm throwing money away, so I won't buy it.
100%. Very practical approach, and different things work for different people. It's just whatever works for you. So very, very well done, Maritia. Maritia, if you got any final words on any of the other topics, please let us know, and then we'll check in with a few other people.
My final words before I remember you were talking about who keeps everything clean, neat, if it's the man or the woman. I think it's very relative. We don't have any statistic for this, right?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any studies of who's more neat. Yeah.
But that would be something interesting to collect the data, because I knew men that were more neat with their environment and cleaning than women. And I also knew women that were pretty messy. And I cannot say if it's that a gender thing, but what I can say is that if I'm single living alone, I keep everything neat, but I procrastinate. Remember that I told you I forget my dry clothes in the dryer, and I keep like 2 days and I don't feel like folding it, or like if I wash my dishes, it's dry over there, I don't put it on the pantry. But when I am together with someone, I make because I have access of service, I make sure that everything is completely and perfectly neat, so the other person feels good around me. And yeah, I don't even demand that they help me, but they keep the things clean the way I left. That's all right, but I'm not over the top. Yeah, and I don't have OCD, so yes, I'm not messy, but I procrastinate in my things a lot when I'm alone. Yeah, because there is nobody here.
Many such cases. I'm a bit of a procrastinator myself. Maritia, stick around on stage and we'll continue with the conversation. And I want to say
All right.
thank you so much for joining. This is what I want to do. On stage, we got Ski, we got Blue Collar Brett, shout out. We got Fax, Heather, and David. We've got Jane, Nico, and Maritia as well. Let's go. I want to say hi to David, then we'll go to Nico. David, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Oh, I'm talking into the mute like an absolute moron. I said, lovely to hear your voice, my friend. It's a pleasure to have you in this space. How are you doing in general? Are you well? What's news? What's been happening? Anything interesting on timeline? Let us know. I've got a couple of you in
Well,
particular.
one, I am well. I'm quite well. Thank you for asking. I live in a relatively new area. I moved from the north to the south, and I'm still finding new used bookstores and new coffee shops, and especially with things that my wife is doing, because I'll go plant myself. It's kind of along the lines of what Heather was saying, like the way men and women behave. I'll go plant myself at a coffee shop with a couple of good books. If I've gone somewhere with my wife where I don't want to actually be there, whether it be a doctor's appointment or some such thing like that. So I'm still enjoying sort of being a visitor from another planet in the area that I live.
So, did you say you've just moved there recently? Is that right?
Yeah, I haven't been here for quite 2 years, and it's a really sort of large area, so there's a lot to investigate.
I love to go exploring. This is one of my favorite things to do, both in terms of the shops, what's available, but also in terms of the walking tracks, etc.
Yeah.
There's a lot of walking tracks near my house which nobody would know about. I'll be honest, like I wouldn't recommend women walk in these areas, but they're very beautiful. They're secluded, they're out of the way, and
Wait, the women or the tracks?
say that again.
The women or the tracks are very beautiful and out of the way.
Both the
Okay.
tracks are beautiful and the women are beautiful. Beautiful, can confirm. And no, there's one in particular. It's along the train tracks, right? So, I mean, I don't think this is doxable. Whatever, there's a lot of train tracks in Brisbane, but where I live, you can walk through this like bush area, and you got to walk on like a gravel road, and then you can walk along the train tracks, and you can walk behind all these factories. Now, on one side, there's like beautiful grass, very beautiful scenery, and the other side there's these bloody factories. But it reminds me of something out of a movie because there's nobody there. Like if you screamed there, you could scream as loud as you want. Nobody would hear you. It's just like completely out of the way. So I like the solitude in those kind of places, but I would not recommend women walk there kind of on their own for obvious reasons.
So, are you a hiker? Is that it? Is that what I'm understanding?
I mean, what I've just described is not really hiking because it's it's a built up area. But I also do like hiking. Yes, I love a good hike. Where I can, I wouldn't say I'm not a professional, or whatever, but
No, I just meant, is walking or perambulating a normal course of behavior for you?
Yes, I prefer to go jogging because I like to get my heart rate up, etc. But sometimes if the scenery is nice, I'll prefer to have a walk, or especially if I got a podcast. Richard Heyer, he's got a 9-hour kind of seminar. It's called The Intelligent Brain, and it's 9 hours. It's all about IQ. Now, I have trouble focusing when I'm jogging to try to take it all in. So when I listen to that, I prefer to walk. So yes, I love a good walk. I sometimes will walk for like 2-3 hours while listening to like an educational podcast on intelligence or genetics or whatever.
Well, I'm an inveterate walker. I do it pretty much every day. And I'm a real believer that, it's a suspicion of mine that the peripatetics, with Aristotle and those, and then the philosophers in the School of Athens, I think part of their genius was as a result of the fact that they were kind of walking around. Your body is in its most natural state, and just the way that you feel and your connectedness to the outside, as long as you're not like looking at a phone or something, if you're really just immersed in the out of doors and kind of moving. And I agree with you. These things don't apply when you're jogging. But when I'm walking, that's when I do my best thinking. At least I think so.
I totally agree. To a lesser extent, with me at least, it's the same with driving. If I'm driving, I can focus in on a podcast very, very well and take a lot of it in. But yeah, more so when walking, but it's a similar thing with driving. But yeah, when I'm walking, 100%, the blood is flowing, the air is fresh. And even if I'm not listening to a podcast, I do find there's just a certain zen, you get into a flow state of thinking. And yeah, I can completely relate to what you're saying, 100%. Walking really clears the mind, helps you think for sure.
Yeah. So driving helps you focus, unlike the people that you're running over.
Yes, especially if they're, blue-haired feminists. I just listen. I don't really run them over because I don't want to get charged. I just kind of nudge them with my mirror, just gently
You give love taps with your car.
give them a love tap. That's all, just a gentle little love tap. Now, for legal reasons, I have to say I'm joking. It is a joke. I do not love tap blue-haired. I wait on a pedestrian crossing. Sorry, especially when on a pedestrian crossing. David, last week we talked about, or it might have been Tuesday, I was talking about how when I'm on a pedestrian crossing, I speed up a little bit out of kind of respect for the drivers waiting. Whereas often when I'm in a car, I will see these people in pedestrian crossing. It seems like they're walking slow on purpose, like they're trying to just assert dominance or just trying to be arrogant or entitled, or I'm on a pedestrian crossing, you got to fucking wait, blah blah blah. Do you notice this when you're driving?
I do.
Yeah.
I remember when I was much younger, I was in another metropolitan city, and there was someone suspiciously doing that, like almost staring me down, like, stop or whatever. Well, I was driving a car, it was kind of a muscle car, and I gunned the engine and he ran across the street. So, I was kind of like, hey, I could be crazy. Of course I was bluffing. But yeah, I've seen this, but I don't do that. I and my wife both, we kind of like, when we see the car out of respect, we kind of speed up a little bit because, especially around universities, the entitlement is just, it skyrockets around the universities. In fact, the self-preservation instinct seems to have gone away. They don't even look, right? They're just crossing the street. And I'm like, do they, they should look, there are really bad drivers out there. And then something else too is I'll at least do the little fake I'm hurrying. So you just move your arms fast, but you're actually not going any faster. So I give the sort of appearance that I'm hurrying, but normally I do step it up a little bit.
I'm the same, and even like, sometimes I do the fake, like I'll dip my head forward as if I'm like accelerating, but I won't actually walk that much faster, just to let them know, hey bro, I see you, I appreciate you stopping, blah blah blah. Yeah, but these people who fucking walk slow, the worst ones are the ones who do it not on a pedestrian crossing. Like in Australia, there's pedestrian crossings everywhere. And it's true that pedestrians have right of way, but it's also true as a pedestrian, it's illegal to just like walk fucking anywhere you want when there's oncoming traffic. So it's kind of like a dual thing. So, I wasn't going to say this, but since you said it, my first car was a manual and it had a very loud exhaust. And when I would see people walking slow on purpose, not on a pedestrian crossing, I wouldn't do it on a pedestrian crossing, but when people would cross the road and walk slow, I would gear down. So if I was in third gear, I would gear down to second gear so the revs come up, and then I would accelerate towards them, as if to say, like, if you're gonna, if you're gonna speed up a little bit, no problem. I will slow down, and I appreciate you. You're walking in the middle of a fucking road when there's a pedestrian crossing a couple of 100 meters down, a little while down the road, whatever, where you're supposed to be using it. Sometimes it's only 20, 30 meters, the pedestrian crossing. But no, they want to walk in the middle of the fucking road. So yeah, I've done it before. I've geared down and accelerated. Now, of course, I'm not going to run them over, but just to let them know, bro, you're being rude, you're being inconsiderate, and you are correct. They always speed up. Fact check true. As they should. A little bit of courtesy goes a long way. Now, David, do you have any thoughts on the pink tax? Do you think the pink tax is do you think it's a reflection of the product being different and costing more to manufacture? Or do you think it's advertising? Or a company's just like, hey, listen, screw these chicks, we can just charge them more at no extra cost to us?
Well, to echo a little bit of what Skibum was saying, if they do charge more, then good for them. I mean, if the women will pay it, then good for them. I will say though, Heather was onto something because my wife switched to the razors that I use. She actually said, and I don't know how long ago this was, but it's not that long ago, the last couple of years. She said, I'm paying more and it's not any better or something like this. So I just switched. And she kind of remarked, she didn't say pink tax, but I think they're just charging more women more for this or whatever. But no science down here or anything, even though she's a scientist. That's just sort of a conclusion that she drew, and she uses, and it is kind of convenient because the cartridges that you refill them with, we obviously draw from the same packet of cartridges, and she uses the same razor. I will say though, I'm going to take a little bit of umbrage to the idea of the tax itself, or the idea that it's an extra cost to women. Well, who's paying for those? I mean, who ultimately single women. Okay, I'll stick with you there. But I have a feeling, and of course I don't know the answer to this, but I don't have any empirical data for this, but I have a feeling that married women will gravitate away from doing something that costs more when they realize, because they're able to stare and compare within their own house. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so if I got you right, part of the reason companies charge more for female products is because women are prepared to pay more, and women are prepared to pay more because it's not their money. Often it's their husband's money.
It's so easy to spend someone else's money. But I will say, and again, I really I enjoyed Heather's when she was talking. It made me think in new directions about this because women are better at shopping. They're not just more. It's not just a propensity. They are better at it. I thank my wife every time, even when we go to the grocery store together. I have prepared nothing, and the example that she gave, staring at all the choices. So I do not exhibit impatience in, for instance, the grocery store with my wife. If I stand there and go, how could you possibly be looking at these different choices of tomato sauce for this long? A man would just go in, because we hunt when we shop. We go in. If my Mac has a hole in his jacket and he goes to the store to buy another one, he goes in, he pays for it, and then he leaves. It was that easy. And I always think, gosh, women in clothing stores selling to men must love it because we're so easy, right? We just go, buy, leave. Grog want Coke, coat. Grog get coat. Grog leaves. But in the grocery store, my wife, it'll be like a Zen koan. She's staring at the wall of choices for whatever product. And so I'll do little like loops in the store. I'll start kind of hiking, and then I'll come back and I'll kind of chuckle because she'll be standing right there still looking at all these choices, you know? So they're actually really good at, well, where does this come from? I think it comes from, I think during the hunter gatherer period, which was the longest period of human history by far, I think women were doing more of the gathering and men were doing more of the hunting. I think that there's evidence to prove this. And so they're actually good at this sort of multifarious shopping, or gathering or looking at things. Hunting, you focus on one thing and you get that thing and then you drop it on the slab at home. Whereas the gathering requires you to, it's like the first multitasking, I guess, if you want to put it that way. And of course, this is why they recognize colors better. This is why they're better choosers in this way. And so when we walk out of the store with my wife, I always thank her. I'm like, God, thank you so much for doing this, because I would never make all these choices so deeply. I would just go to the store, get exactly what I wanted for maybe the next day or two, and then, milk, meat, like whatever. So I think, and then when Heather said, well, when they took control of the shopping or they got the credit cards, yeah, I can see why, because we just don't want to spend. It's not enjoyable for us. We're not as good at it. So, and then of course I think the marketers know this, because back to hunter gathering, well, how were they recognizing? How were they differentiating? Well, a big part of it was color, which is why women have so much of a better eye for color than men do, and the marketers know that. What do you think about that?
I think it's spot on. And one thing that's interesting is homosexuals exhibit all the same stuff that you just described in the female sense. So, more, you will notice that they groom themselves more. They're more concerned with preening. They're more concerned with style and colors and aesthetics. And a lot of this stuff you're describing, it's very interesting to know that gay men also exhibit a lot of these tendencies. I agree with everything you said. David, have you seen the video where there's an Asian guy and on the left it says, how men apologize? And then it has like picture of a man and a down arrow and it's like, I'm sorry. And then on the right it says, how women apologize? And he's got like a marker and he's like, well, I want to say it's not really my fault. You didn't ruin it, and it's not your fault. You didn't tell me to ruin it. And the marker is doing circles, like circle, 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 as he's told you should have. And then he circles like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then he ends up, there's a little bit off screen. The marker leads up at, let's just have sex to apologize. Gives the man sex.
That's my
So
way.
is that
I'm absolutely okay with that.
yes?
I do apologize
Apologize by
quickly, to just get the sex and get my peace, and nobody talks and everyone shut up.
Wait,
very.
he gets his piece.
I I do. I always apologize quickly because I have other interests in my partner, so I don't want to fight.
It's a good.
Wait, well, you said partners. How many do you have?
I said partner. I'm
Oh,
a partner. I have interest. I don't like to fight. So if I make a mistake, I quickly apologize. I don't care about my ego because I'm thinking about the end of the day and what I'm going to get from it.
Well, normally men have a banana clip full of apologies. For a woman, it's like break glass if you absolutely need to wield this apology. And then when you do, we mark the day, nay the month, nay the year that the woman apologized.
Yes.
I figure out women that don't like to apologize. It makes things very stressful for the men, poor guys.
No, not it does. It does not.
Well, yeah.
My
it's
wife
different
doesn't.
universe.
I apologize way more than my wife, and it doesn't make things stressful at all.
Yeah.
David, there's another interest. The reason I brought up that one with the apology. Now I haven't fact checked this, but it looks like it seems like it's true, anecdotal at least. It has like a man at the shopping center, and it's got like a map, and it says the man goes to Costco, goes to the hardware store, and then back to the car. There's like lines, and it's like, something like this. Men have to get bread, and it was like the man, Costco, bread, back to the car. Then it was like women have to get bread. Then it's like the perfume store, the clothes store, the hairdressers, this, that, back to the clothes store, back to there. And there's all these like circles where they're taking all these detours. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but
I
it's
love
funny.
women, and I love that they have this capacity. I don't envy it, of course, at all. In fact, I take advantage of it the same way Brett does. My wife buys my clothes. Yes, why should I? Why? Hey, cut out the middleman. Because I'm only interested in how I look to her. I don't give a crap about all these other people. In fact, I should ask Brett this. If your wife looks at you and says, "You're not wearing that," as far as going out, I just go change it. I'm like, well, just what do you want me to wear? I don't care. I'm like the weatherman when you're a kid. You know how you dressed it up, you know? So if she goes and buys it, and well, obviously you like it. If I go buy something on my own, let's say a shirt or something, which I'm perfectly capable of doing, anything around suits and shirts, my dad taught me this. You know, this is armor that you wear for doing business. That's the one thing I don't let my wife pick out. Anything involving suits and formal dress, that sort of thing. But everything else, I just let her buy it because I could go out and buy something like that, and she'd be like, "No, that color doesn't work on you," or something like that. Well, of course, I'm going to get a look for the rest of my life every time I put it on. So why should I be involved in that? No, women have this capacity to shop. It is superior to men. And I also think that they're aesthetics as far as colors. Thank goodness my wife and I both love simplicity. You know, we really like high quality fabrics and then simplicity. But she goes out and buys them and I love it. I'm like, oh, thank you. Yeah. Or she'll order it. She'll order it. So it's really wonderful because I'm absolutely not. In fact, every morning I open the front door to see if there are any packages for something that she ordered. Now, reverse that. How many things does the man order? How many times does he go on Amazon or whatever and order things? I mean, I would venture the guys in this room almost never, like once every, it could be once every few weeks, but with the woman I could get it's like Christmas every morning, there's something on the phone. I pull it in and set it on the stair. Hey, you ordered something. And by the way, I don't even ask what it is. I'm sure there's a plan there. I don't want to know. So if you get in a relationship, take advantage of this wonderful quality the women have because unless you're like, if, and assuming you're like me, where you don't envy having the responsibility of doing those things.
I got a female friend. She buys all these clothes, keeps them for a year, and then gives them away, and then buys more clothes. She basically replaces her clothes every 12 months. Sometimes she sells them, sometimes she doesn't. And it's fucking wild. The thought of doing that is so weird. Women do be loving some retail therapy.
That's for the
Wait, I don't.
dopamine. That's
Yeah, but I
dopamine.
think that sounds more like a predilection than a propensity. That's I'm not sure most women will go that far. But I mean, I know they like to keep buying clothes, but this idea of switching them all out for some new wardrobe, that's something I have not seen in my personal life. I haven't seen it with my sisters, uh, my mom. I haven't seen it with my wife. So
Yeah, I don't want to oversell it. She doesn't literally get rid of everything and replace everything, but
mhm.
she's constantly giving away clothes and buying more, giving them away, or she'll sell them. Buy clothes and then be selling heaps, bags and bags and bags, gives them to her friends, and she's got a good job. She earns good money, but it's just like, bro, what a waste. But each to their own, I guess.
Don't you think that we can be to the extreme in the other direction? Because we'll keep things forever. It has to wear out. So if you're married, your wife will just take things out of rotation. Like they will just disappear. I mean, not something that I would cherish, like a T-shirt that kind of says something or whatever. But if something has fallen into disrepair, it'll just disappear from rotation. You're like, I don't even know. I'm sure it went in the trash or something. But because we'll just keep the same stuff forever, and why shouldn't we?
Yeah, did you see my wallet post?
I think I did. Yeah.
Let me find it. I said, let me see if I can find it here. I said, men rarely upgrade things. They just wait till they break or are completely destroyed. Then I said, men's wallets illustrate this perfectly. And I got a picture of a destroyed wallet. It looks like it's got to be 20, 30 years old. Yeah, this is true. Men do be holding on to stuff.
Well, let me ask you a question
Yeah.
back at you about that. Do you sort of relish buying something new when you've absolutely beat the crap out of something? Like whatever it is, I feel bad about replacing something that works perfectly well. But once it's basically trash and I've just used all I can of it, I enjoy going out and getting the high quality thing to replace it. Is that is that something that do you
Yes,
feel that way? Yeah.
if I've used something to the extreme and I've got a lot of good use out of it, and if there's a good enough reason to upgrade it, I will. But I feel even better if it just breaks. Like if I've used
Right.
something, for example, I had a stereo. I probably had it for like 12 years, and then it's recently given up. Now I haven't brought a new one yet, but I will not feel bad about. I will actually feel good about buying a new one because I've got a lot of use out of this one. So yes, there's a certain amount of satisfaction and pleasure, if I can use that word, to when you've used something, rode it all the way, it gives up, and then you upgrade it. Whereas I agree, I hate upgrading when stuff is working. This is one thing I really.
Yeah, it's just hard for me. And like, for instance, when my last television went bad, I went out and got the OLED, 4K, whatever. But it was very hard for me until I saw that it was kind of going bad. I had a crappy dishwasher that was so loud. If it were running right now, I would not be able to be on this space with you and you hear me. But I couldn't replace. I needed it to kind of like fall apart. When it finally did, I went out and bought a Miele, which is the nicest one in the world. But I had to, for some reason, there's something in me where it just kind of has to fall apart for me to do it. The last time that I didn't do that was my audio receiver in my stereo system, which is somewhat significant, and it just wouldn't go bad. So I just gave it to someone else. I mean, it was pretty old, but it just wouldn't go bad. So I just went and bought another one. I'm like, all right, I give up. It won. It's never going to go bad, but I really need to upgrade here, so I just did it.
I've got a 10-year-old lawnmower, which is it's still like it's had a couple of problems, and every time I go to the depot, in Australia we got Bunnings. I don't know what you guys, Home Depot.
Mhm.
Every time I go, I see they've got better mowers that are more powerful. They got more features. The wheels are better. They're self-drive. Blah blah blah. And actually, I really want one, and I can afford it. I just can't bring myself to get rid of the other one. I'm just like, well, the other one's still working. But as soon as my mower stops, you know what else happened? The accelerator broke on the mower, and I was like, "Oh yes, now's my chance. It's broken." But then I sprayed it with some silicon spray, and I fixed it. So I'm like, "Well, I can't fucking get rid of it now." So yeah, I'm exactly the same. I'm waiting for my lawnmower to break in a way that I can't repair it myself, and then I'm going to upgrade it. But I just can't bring myself to upgrade it while it's working.
I
Totally.
just feel like an alien now for just like feeling very relatable that I use things until they break. Otherwise, I don't buy a new one. And yeah, the same thing like the men's. I don't know. I'm a female. I have three
Yes.
children, but I'm like this. I don't know. It's very strange because I'm listening. You're both saying the same thing, which I do with my clothes, with
You're a
everything, shoes.
you're a spiritual man.
Man, I
Exactly.
don't know. I
Right.
just I think I born in the
Though,
wrong body.
if I understand how reincarnation works, I think you go from a woman to a man, right? So you go
God
up.
damn it! I
Right.
really.
No, no, wait. I'm sorry. A woman to a gorilla, and then a man. Sorry, I forgot to interpose. No, but Brett said something earlier that I really like. If we, or I think it was Brett, it could have been Skiba, but if we buy a brand that we like, or maybe shouldn't speak for all of us, but you can. I'll leave myself in your safekeeping if you agree. Don't you agree that if we buy a brand that we like, we just stick with that?
Yes.
We are happy.
Yes.
I mean, like the kind of deodorant that I don't use antiperspirant. I don't mind sweating, but the deodorant I use, it's the same brand. And again, I don't even buy. My wife orders it. I don't. It's that brand. That's it. Don't need. Same with shaving cream. If that's what I use, then that's good for me.
I even want the same model. If I can get the same model, I'm like that model, like the stereo. If I could get the same stereo model, I'd get the exact same model if I could. But yeah,
Right.
no, I stick with the same brand 100%. unless there's a
Right.
or there's been some new innovation.
I actually get more satisfaction from like a tool that I buy that is cheap that I'm like, it'll probably last a year, but I'll be happy with it. And it's going on year 7. And I find no greater satisfaction than that. It's just like, and then when it finally does break, because it was the cheap tool or something, they don't make it anymore. And then it's just gone in the past forever.
I did that with a hedge trimmer. I brought a hedge trimmer that was cheap, and I've got like a thick hedge. So I'm like, this fucking thing's going to maybe get me 5 cuts and then it's going to burn out. As it turns out, it's been going for 3 years, so it's kind of backfired. It won't break. Now, I will say, David, I'm going against my own rules here. I got given a gift voucher for my birthday for like Home Depot, the Australian version, and the hedge trimmer I've got, you plug it in. It's like a plug-in one. You plug it into the wall. And it keeps coming out, and then you got to make sure you don't cut the cable. You got to wrap the cable around your arm, and then you got to find a power point. So I broke my own rule, and I upgraded. I brought a battery-powered hedge trimmer, and I don't know what I'm going to do with the electric one. I'm just going to give it away. But yeah, I try to avoid doing that, but I made an exception in this case.
I love the idea of the gift voucher. Mitch Hedberg is right to make fun of it. You take money that's good anywhere and you turn it into money that's good in only one place. Just give them the money.
I mean, fact check true. That does. Now, this is what I want to do, David. I got one more for you. Then I want to say hi to Mandy, if we can get her back, and I want to say hi to Meta as well. And I see Nico's got his hand up. Nico, please don't go anywhere. David, I've got in the Jumbotron the quote, believe only half of what you see and nothing that you hear, Edgar Allan Poe. And then I said, so much wisdom stored in such a simple saying. What wise saying do you live by? So first of all, David, what do you think about the Allan Poe quote? And then do you have simple sayings or your favorite saying that you like to live by?
Well, there's too many, I guess, to recall at the moment. But I will say, as far as that one, I don't trust anybody that wants me to trust them on the facts. So when anybody posits something, if they just say, trust me, I'm like, well, I don't trust people who ask me to trust them. I trust people who come with the facts. So he who posits, as you've heard me say before, must defend. It's your responsibility to elucidate the facts that back up your position. And so that's it. Does it exist? Does your claim exist in logical space? Can you express it out to me where it makes sense? That's a heuristic, right? I mean, if you don't, if it's not something based on personal experience, where I pretty much have to take your word for it. So yeah, I like the quote I responded to it too. It said, well, what is it? The quote was, read the quote again by.
The quote says, believe only half of what you see and nothing that you hear.
Yeah, I responded, I hear you.
Haha.
So
I just said
why should I believe this? No, of course, and I'm a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan. By the way, I've committed The Raven to memory. I think it may be the greatest poem of all time, but I guess Ode to a Grecian Urn might surpass it.
I want to ask you something, David. This has happened multiple times over the last 4 years that I've been on this platform. 2 of my mutuals will fight. They will both try to drag me into it. They both have different stories, and then they both get upset when I don't believe them. So they're like, oh, you don't believe me? So person one's like, you don't believe me? And then person's two like, oh, you believe them, not me? You don't believe me? And I don't to me, it's a theory of mind problem in a way, right? Like, let's say hypothetically me and Brett are fighting hypothetically. And I go to you, David, and I'm like, this, and this happened. And you're like, well, I've heard a different version. I'm not going to get mad at you for not believing me, because how the fuck are you supposed to know if I'm lying or not lying? How are you supposed to know if I've forgotten? How are you supposed to know what is you have no way of knowing what the real version is. There's no way to verify. So this has happened to me. I mean, technically if they're facts and you can fact check, whatever. But this has happened to me multiple times where 2 of my mutuals be fighting. They tell me opposite stories. I tell them I want to stay out of it. And then they get mad at me like, oh, you don't believe me? And I'm like, bro, listen, if I wasn't there to hear it with my own ears, I've had a lot of experience in the past where people have accidentally or otherwise given me a different version. If I don't hear it from myself, I just stay out of it, especially if it doesn't involve me. So, what do you think about that, David? In particular, the
Well,
people that are like,
one,
"What believe?"
I've had all my experience in the past, but two, in transactional analysis, it's called playing rescue, where you involve yourself when two people are having a disagreement. Terrible mistake, or usually treacherous, because they'll make up. But if you sided with one of them, they might never forgive you. So better to not involve yourself. Better to leave it between those two people than to jump in and play rescue, because the person that jumps in and plays rescue can be the biggest loser.
I agree. I have a policy. I've been very clear about it. If it doesn't, if two of my mutuals fight, I just stay out of it. I'm going to stay out of it. Now, sometimes, and people have heard me say this before, I'm sure, sometimes it'll result in me losing both friends. Both friends feel I'm disloyal and they would just both stop talking to me. So I lose two friends. Other time, they both have understood and both have just allowed me to stay out of it. So
The only exception is at dinner parties or cocktail parties when a couple starts bickering. I actually egg it on. I'll say, "Are you going to let him talk to you that way right in front of everybody?" And then, if I can get her riled up a little bit and she'll respond, I'll look at him and say, "You got to come back on that. Come on, you can't leave that out there. You got to. I mean, if you're going to argue in front of me, which is indecorous, I'm going to egg it on. It's going to be fun. I mean, I've got a glass of wine in my hand, and why shouldn't I be amused?"
that is actually very, very funny. And I completely support this.
They always stop arguing when I do it, by the way.
It's a good strategy.
They're like, "He's getting too much fun out of this." You can't argue with the devil in the room. That's just not possible.
Reverse psychology. Yeah, most of the time it's pretty good. Most of the time people let me stay out of it, but sometimes they do not, and it does get frustrating. So I will continue to just stay out of it, and if people want to take it against me, they are free to. The other thing is, which tell me what you think about this, David. I don't know why people don't get this. Now, I'm not saying this to brag in any way, shape, or form. It's basic scale and basic numbers. If you have a lot of followers, statistically, you're going to have a lot of people fighting. Every fucking week it feels like, or every 2 weeks, two of my close mutuals. Now, if one of them is just a rando, of course, go fuck yourself. I'm going to take the side of my mutual. But when two of my close mutuals fight, this happens every week or every fortnight. If I have to spend every fortnight litigating between fighting with my mutuals, I've got a lot of mutuals, they're always fighting. This app is going to be a miserable place for me. I come here to talk to scientists and to try to run fun spaces. So some people really don't get scale. They don't, or they're like, I DM'd you. Bro, I get 40 DMs a day. Like, do you not get, I'm doing my best to kind of get, so why don't people understand scale, David? People are just like, well, you got to take a side. Bro, if I have to take a side every time this happens, I'm just going to miserable time litigating and trying to investigate. And did you really say this? I got the opposite story. And like you said, people end up making up anyway eventually. So I don't get why people don't get scale, David. It's very confusing.
Well, if they say you have to take a side, say, "I do, mine."
I like it. I like it. That is
But I co-sign with you if it's a mutual that you respect and the other person isn't so much, because every time someone will come at me, for instance, to attack Diligent simply because he's doing great work, I'll respond, "Please provide the evidence," and they never have it. They just don't like the questions he's asking. They just don't like the journalism. But every time I'll say, "Please provide the evidence," and they don't have any evidence. They don't have any case to make. It's just all emotional. They're just men being women,
Trying
basically, I
to
guess.
trying to convince you to believe on their side of the history. That's all. That's ego.
Yeah. Yeah. Big mistake.
um,
Loyalty is a virtue. Maintain that virtue.
say that again. What's the virtue?
Loyalty is a virtue. In fact, it could be argued as it's the highest virtue, because how could you maintain fealty to the other virtues if you didn't have it?
Very good point. And You know what's funny though? Right now, as I'm talking, I'm not joking. I have 6 people. 6 of my mutuals are fighting, and probably some of them are going to be listening on anonymous, and all 6 of them are going to be like, "He's sub posting me. I'm not sub posting any one person. This is a thing that's happened 20 or 30 times, in the past 4 years." And like, I'm not even joking. Right now, there are 6 people in the anonymous going, "Oh, they're about to message me. You're talking about me." Listen, it's not about any one person. I promise. This is a broad general statement that applies to many situations that I've been.
Maybe you should just host a space. You should make it like the island where, one of you is going to survive.
It's an interesting point. Actually, it would make for a fun
Yeah.
space to get the
Have
people
a
out
survivor space
there.
for drama queens,
Yes.
and have them all fight and just egg them on. Just throw as much fuel on the fire as you possibly can.
Well,
Oh man, that's funny.
I really respect the people that let me stay out of it too. Some people are just like, listen, I know you're in a tough position. You're friends with both of us. You don't have to get involved. Blah, blah, blah. I cannot tell you how much I respect and appreciate when people allow me to do that. I mean, that's what I'm going to do anyway. But, when they just make it clear, hey, it's fine, like that means a lot to me. And you mentioned diligent. Probably about 15, and I'm not exaggerating, 15 people, let's say in the last 12 months, 15 people have warned me about diligent. Diligent this, diligent that, diligent this, diligent that. I tell them all the same thing. I am not political, so I have no political opinion. Don't involve me in whatever you think diligent has and hasn't said about politics. I have no opinion because I don't know about politics. I don't follow politics. If you've got a political objection to diligent politically, take it up with him. Don't involve diligent said this and that about politics. I don't give a shit what diligent said about politics. I don't know anything about politics. I'm not political. However, in all my dealings with diligent, he's always been straight up. He's been direct. He doesn't reveal screenshots. He doesn't gossip. He's always done what he says he's going to do. He's helped out a lot of people. That's been my experience. On top of that, I've never outwardly observed him doing anything that I would consider reproachable. When people attack him, these people did a hate campaign against him a few years ago because he said a naughty word they didn't like. What did he do? He invited them on the stage and he let them all scream at him. And then there was this other one. He did a space where he's like, come and give me honest feedback, make it brutal. And people were just saying, yeah, you do this, you do that, blah, blah, blah. And he listened to all of it. So not only has he done nothing to me, I've not observed him doing anything, in an outward obvious way that I would consider immoral or reproachable. Now, if I missed something, whatever. But to all the people who warn me, I just say you're entitled to your opinion. If you don't like diligence politics, take it up with him. He's always been good to me and he's helped a lot of people as well. People don't talk about this. He was running the recovery spaces for alcoholic. He did spaces for beginners, how to host, how to do all that. He didn't get anything out of those. He didn't get any followers. He didn't get anything, whatever. He was doing the recovery spaces to help people. He was doing the spaces for beginners, whatever, to help the community, etc. So I don't know. He is one of the people. He gets a really hard time. Now, some people have objections because they've had bad dealings with him, according to them. I don't know. I'm not saying it's true or not true. I'm not there watching everything Diligent does. All I know is he's always treated me well. I've never observed him treating anyone in a he's never done a hate space where he's completely taught someone who is just completely innocent, whatever. He's defended himself a few times that I've observed. Okay, fine. So yeah, that's it. I will continue to support Diligent, to be Diligent's friend. He's done nothing to me and he's helped a lot of people. Whatever Diligent's views are about politics, take it up with him. I'm not very political. I don't know fuck all about politics. I have no political opinion. I only know the basics. What do you think, David?
Well, and I think for journalists, I mean, Glenn Greenwald had the same thing when he broke the Snowden story. All of a sudden, there were a lot of people that didn't like him, and they were very visceral about this. But they pretend it's something more in general, but when in fact it's just the material that he's focusing in on. John Stossel who's a libertarian. He told the story that I think when he worked at ABC, he was doing kind of the Ralph Nader thing. He was looking at corporations, and by golly, they deserve it, and seeing all of the sort of the malfeasance and the lack of solicitude they had for their customers and all this sort of stuff. And he was a hero walking through the halls of ABC. And then all of a sudden, when he started pointing this same faculty at government and looking at what they do and the harm that they cause, then people wouldn't talk to him when he walked down the hall. So he was doing the same thing, operating by essentially the same principles, truth over falsity, ignominy over nobility, and nobility over ignominy, I should say. And yet they didn't like him. So that's kind of where Dillinger's at, because he's doing citizen journalism, and inevitably some people are going to not like you, not for the answers that you're coming up with, but for the questions that you're asking. That was Voltaire's point. The question's the most important thing, not necessarily the answers.
I like that. I like that a lot. Could you elaborate on that a little bit? The question's the most important thing. Is it the
Well,
ability to question, or the question itself?
the question itself, because I was somewhat defending somebody sort of attacked Jean-Jacques Rousseau, because the idea was that he sort of was the father of wokeness and all of this stuff. And I had to defend him. He was Voltaire's nemesis. Now, I'm much more Voltairean than I am a Rousseau, on Rousseau's side. But Rousseau was an absolute great genius. And my defense of Rousseau was he inspired so many great questions, like irrespective of his massive contradictions. He got people thinking, and was such a genius that he asked, for instance, he wasn't famous at all until he answered an essay in Dijon. And he was a guy just walking out through the countryside, by the way, which he kind of founded the naturalist movement by uh, by describing his life at that time of his life. And there would have been no lake poets without Rousseau for that. That's a good example of it. But when he responded to the essay, it was, is modernity good? Is is what is modern? Is this good? And everybody answered yes. And he won the prize, which is a couple of pieces of gold, by saying no. He said, I think modernity has simply made men more clever. I don't think that it's made them better. Now, irrespective of the fact that that's probably not true, I think modernity is good. It was genius, and it inspired people to think, well, what's good about what's going on now, and what's not good? So the questions are so important, and anybody that is asking great, penetrating, and maybe indicting to the moment questions, you should defend that person irrespective of whether the question leads in a direction that you prefer.
Very, very well said. Both the question itself, as you describe, and also the ability, the freedom of speech you talk about all the time. It's important to be able to ask questions. If when you kind of, what's the saying? If you want to know, oh, forget. Anyway, I don't want to fuck it up. But yeah, being able to ask questions is very, very important. So fact check true.
Yeah, and you can't, as I've said, speaking of maxims, you cannot love the truth without loving the truth that doesn't love you back. So if it doesn't make you feel good, if it doesn't confirm maybe your ideological position, then that's the time to decide whether you really are loyal, whether you're faithful to the truth, or whether you're just faithful to your own. Parmenides thought that the majority of people were really more interested in their own opinions than they were truth itself. But truth seekers operate and think differently. They're much less antagonistic to the penetrating question.
Yeah, I really like that expression as well. Even when you deny the truth goes on existing.
Right.
Yeah, this really just.
And gets the final word. The truth will end up denying you. So if you deny reality, reality will deny you right back. And guess who's going to win?
Yeah, and even from a pragmatic approach, if you, excuse me, I apologize. If you what hope do you have to solve a problem if you're not honest about the problem? What hope do you have to find a solution to a problem that you're not honest about? So many problems in society, and even at the individual level, people are just not honest about what the problem is. They kid themselves. If you don't identify the problem, you got no chance to solve it. Which I think is the
Yeah,
first step.
I would say for everybody in the room, the most underrated quality is the ability to identify and define a problem. Absolutely. To really identify it, to really define it, your chance of maybe half the work at getting to the solution is just identifying and defining the problem. And the great geniuses in history had a unique capacity to do that.
Very, very true. I hate to bring up IQ because I talk about it all the time, but I think IQ is playing a big role in people's ability to identify a problem. Totally, totally agree.
And I also think that there's something counterintuitive about genius or high intelligence is that it actually assumes less, not more. So that you'll notice that they'll go back to fundamentals and they might seem dumber than the average person because they're examining things that everybody else just absolutely takes for granted. And why does anybody need to explain this to you? Well, because it's in those assumptions, the foundational sort of things, that they can find the faults, right? And the whole structure of knowledge is built on those things. And once you realize, oh, this is faulty, then you have to kind of tear it down and start over. And that's what great minds do.
Reminds me of the midwit meme. I don't know if you've seen it. There's on the far left, which is like 85 IQ, and the far right, which is 145. They both agree. And then in the middle at the 110, 115, they disagree. Have you seen that, David?
I think I saw it. I think I saw you post
Yeah.
that like a while back.
Called the
Yeah.
midwit meme. Very good example is COVID. Low IQ people didn't want to take the vaccine. And then very, very intelligent people also didn't want to take the vaccine. But everyone in the middle, on average, was like, trust the science. So
Yeah.
it was funny because, what's his name? Fauci went to these urban, neighborhoods, low SES, low household income. He's trying to get him to take
I remember this. I
Yeah.
remember this.
He's
The
trying,
black guy.
he's trying to get him to take the vaccine. And what I'm about to say was true for about 5 or 10 different houses, but there was one in particular. There was a black guy. I forget exactly what he said, but he's like, I ain't fucking taking that. It doesn't sound. Well, he didn't swear, but he's just like,
Why should I trust you and all that?
yeah,
He was owning him. He
yeah,
really
he
was. He
was.
was like, I don't need your damn Tuskegee project here. No, thank you.
Yeah, the guy was like, how do I know it's safe? And then
Right.
Fauci's like, well, it's safe. We've gone testing, blah, blah, blah. And the guy was like, the virus only came out 9 months ago. How did you get a safe vaccine in 9 months? And Fauci's like, well, we technology. And yeah, the guy with this guy's probably earning 20, 30K a year, was absolutely owning Fauci in a very, very simple whatever. And then he's like, listen, we got viruses flying around everywhere. I don't need this. So I'm fine. I'm healthy. I eat orange juice. I drink orange juice, whatever the fuck he said. So yeah, that's the midwit meme, so to speak.
Well, the greatest midwit that owned the greatest owning midwit in history was Sancho Panza, literary character. So Don Quixote's squire, right? So the great genius of the novel, which makes it so funny. I think Cervantes wrote it as a series of articles, but anyway, the great genius of the novel is the interplay between Sancho Panza and this sort of lunatic Don Quixote. He's a high functioning lunatic, but Panza is a clod untroubled by a spark, as George Bernard Shaw would say. And so the interaction between the two, because he just makes simple observations that countervail whatever it is, whatever nuttiness that Cervantes is doing. But it's hilarious listening to the interplay or reading the interplay between them. I recommend it to everyone.
I'll check it out. I don't think I'm familiar, but I will check it out.
Have you heard of Don Quixote?
I've heard the name, and is it like a?
He's the greatest literary figure in history, in my opinion.
And what's the name of the series or the poetry that you're talking about?
No, it's just a novel, Don Quixote.
Okay.
It was written by Cervantes. He was a contemporary of Shakespeare's. And he basically invented Spanish when he wrote it because there was all these dialect, Castilian, this, that, and the other. But when he wrote this absolute masterpiece that I mean, I read it when I think I was like 20 or whatever, but I read it in bed and I just kept laughing. I thought it was so funny. It's just so delightful. This guy lived this miserable life because he was captured by enemies, Cervantes, and then he ended up being a tax slave in his own country for not paying taxes. And yet he wrote the most beautiful and resplendent and funny and joyous book. And of course, there are all sorts of quotes in the book that people carry to this day. So, yeah, you should read Don Quixote. It's a must read for everyone.
Yes.
If you would recognize the phrase tilting at windmills from
Yeah.
the main character.
No, I do not recognize that.
Have you do you know are you familiar with the word quixotic?
No.
Nico, if you haven't done that one. Yeah, quixotic means so Don Quixote, so in his delusion he was thinking that he needed to fight the windmill, right? And so tilting at windmills is the idea that you're fighting some sort of fight that it's a waste of time or that sort of thing.
Interesting. No, I'm not familiar with that expression.
Yeah, to make it make sense, tilting, like two knights on a runway with their big long spear riding towards each other.
Yeah.
That was the metaphor as he was tilting at the windmills. But I
Uh-huh.
agree with Dave. Hardly. I first read it as a teenager and have reread it several times. Great book.
Sounds brilliant. I'll have to check it out. David, I've got one last one for you, and then we'll say hi to a few other people. We got Meta on stage and Jane, who we haven't heard from. So I definitely check in with them. David, are you able to? So I mentioned here. I don't know. If you got to it, I missed it. So forgive me. But if you could just recapitulate for me, I'd appreciate it. So in the post, I said, believe only half of what you see and nothing that you hear. And then I said, so much wisdom stored in a simple saying. What wise sayings do you live by? David, can you hit us with a couple? I know there's probably too many to mention, but you got a couple of favorites you could share with us?
Well, so I have my own, obviously, and the one pinned to my profile: "He who rules himself cannot be ruled by others." I do believe the responsibility of having command over your own consciousness. The wanting machine. Schopenhauer made this point: for every want that you satisfy or satiate, 10 more crop up in its place. And of course, this is maddening. And the great power of consciousness is gaining control of that. Ultimately, dominion over yourself, which means dominion over your thoughts, how you direct your consciousness, is the secret of life. You're the instrument of your own happiness. So he who rules himself cannot be ruled by others. I would say that's one of them.
I love it. Very, very cogent. I like this one.
Can I share one with David?
Please,
I
please.
I've evolved to this, but I really enjoy it. I think you're gonna kick on it, David. Is just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I just put up a quote by someone. I'm trying to remember. I know his name. It just hasn't coming to me right now. And it said, I'm trying to think of the philosopher who said it, but he said something along the lines of what you're saying. He said, an intelligent mind has the capacity to entertain an idea without accepting it. And I really like this. Like someone comes to you with an idea, you take it on its face and you listen to it and entertain it, irrespective of, in other words, you help them. You help them with the idea, and you consider it and think about it without the need to accept the idea. So I think that's a quality that I admire.
And I think it's essential to granting people, at least from my perspective, the right to be wrong. I'll listen to what you have to say. I'm happy to do that, and I'm going to reserve how I feel about it. That's my own
Yeah.
agency, which ties in with what you initially said, which I totally believe. Know yourself, handle yourself, uh, take care of the things that you have control over, and the discernment to separate those two, what things are in your control and what things aren't, really leads to my peace of mind.
Right, right. And I really, you can see, one of my other kind of maxims is that if you cultivate kindness within yourself, it'll give you the magical capacity to see it within others. So ultimately, notice all of these things are afferent. They're inward looking. So if you kind of are the lapidary of your own soul, you polish your own mind, then how your outlook of the world changes, how you interact with other people. The world changes in so many ways because all of a sudden, like if I hear someone tell me how everybody is bad and awful, my response is no, they're not. You don't seem to be running into the same people. Well, it's the lens through which they're looking, isn't it? If the world looks ugly to you, maybe it's your glasses. Maybe it's your mind.
I'm reminded of these people who are like, all my, everybody else is a problem. I had a problem with this person, I had a problem with that person, I had a problem with this person.
Right.
And I'm always like, motherfucker, have you noticed that you are the common denominator? Are you not aware that in all these conflicts, you are the common? It's wild to me that people don't realize this. David B, we don't have to mention any details or any names, but there was a big space recently where I was having conflict with a woman, and the people listening would not have known this, but this woman has had conflict with so many people, over the course of 3 years. This person and that person has a problem. This person stopped talking, and that person, and I sometimes think to myself, does she not realize that she's the common denominator in all of these problems? Now one could, turn that back on me. I've also had problems with people. Well, I should say they've had problems with me. I haven't had problems with a lot of these people that had problems with me. But I've also got, I would say, a reasonable amount of people who don't have issues with me. Whereas some people, it seems to be all they have is people that have issues with them, and they don't notice that they are the common denominator. I don't know if they don't notice or they don't care or it's willful ignorance or something else is going on, but it's very confusing.
You've inspired a new maxim. If everywhere you go stinks, then maybe you should take a shower.
I like it. I will give you credit for that one.
Mic check. Can you hear me now, Hitch?
Yeah, we got you now, Ski. Go ahead.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that the social media feed for you here on X is also a very good metaphor for that because see people all the time complaining about all the crap that they're seeing in their timeline. And since the way that it works now is the things that you engage with are what you get fed back,
Right.
it says a lot about the person if all they're seeing is things they represent that is annoying and they don't like it. So, well, stop digging into those posts, commenting on it, and stop feeding that dragon.
Yeah, my timeline's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with mine, not gonna lie. David, I got one more for you. So this kind of relates to me a little bit. On one hand, if there's always drama, you're the common denominator, you're probably causing it. On the other hand, I don't think I really cause. I mean, maybe maybe I am biased, of course, but I go out of my way to avoid drama. But sometimes drama finds me. Now, if I asked you about this on Tuesday Space, please forgive me. Maybe if you wouldn't mind just recapitulating for the people who didn't hear it. But someone mentioned to me that people who are unstable or who are erratic or have problems, they kind of seek stability. Now, listen, I'm not saying I'm Mother Teresa or anything, but I'm pretty level. I'm pretty measured. And somebody described it as, if you're a ship in a storm, you look for the lighthouse. So on one hand, there's like the guy who tried to crush my account. That guy's objectively causing problems everywhere he goes. He starts drama. He forces people to take his side. He instructs people to not talk to other people and do things and block them and blah, 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 blah. I don't do any of that, but I attract a similar amount of drama, and I was trying to work out why. One person said, it could be that unstable people are attracted to stable people because they're trying to mediate or mitigate their instability. And I think if they hang around a stable person, they are drawn to it or make them feel better or whatever. Do you have any thoughts on this, David? Why do you think this could explain, me always being in the middle of drama, or am I the problem? Everywhere I go, there's problems. Is it me, David?
I've suspected this for a very long time. It doesn't happen to me anymore just because of the way I comport myself, but I thought people were trying to get me to lance the boil. They would come to me and they would be a bit overly disputatious, as though and I'm like, is this person deep down psychologically wanting me to fix them? Is there like some mild sort of schizophrenia going on here? Not true schizophrenia, but just between their emotions and their thoughts, where they're wanting me to fix them, because you start getting diagnostic about it. So I used to suspect that. Now, as far as running from drama, I don't think I so much as run for it. I feel like it's more like I'm Neo and the drama bullets, I can just pick them out of the air and throw them on the ground, so I don't really have to run from it anymore. I just deny it. I just don't. The drama has no, I don't allow myself to be perturbed. I don't get agitated. As I've said many times, when someone tries to inspire drama within me, I feel cast into a role for which I am unsuited, because I'm not going to get upset. Why would I? I don't even know these people. So that's my approach to drama. But as far as the other thing, yeah, I feel like that they want me to fix them or something. I think that's maybe why the one is attracted to the other.
Yes, that you've articulated it perfectly. Whether they know it consciously or unconsciously or whatever, probably is a bit of that. They're drowning or they're in a storm and they're looking for a safe harbor. Makes sense.
And I will say this, in your personal life, if you find this to be so, make sure that you transmit the idea that you care about them as a person, right? Don't make it a zero-sum game, even if they're trying to inspire you to do so. If possible, try to convey that you actually care about them as a person. Be the bigger soul. I'm sorry. I say this a lot to my nieces and nephews. I'm sorry, but sometimes you're going to have to be the bigger soul.
Excellent advice. Follow David notifications on. David, if you got anything else you want to add on any other topics, please let us know, my friend. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
No, wonderful space. I came in really enjoying it. Ski Bomb, Brett, Heather, all of you. Awesome. And Nico.
Let's go. Now, I've been up very, very early, so I'm a little tired, so we won't run as long as we normally do. But of course, everyone on stage will get a chance to speak. I will check in with everyone. Probably won't take many new speakers. We're going to go to subscriber space as soon as this one ends. I'm going to say hi to everyone, have a nice little back and forth. I want to get a few people's opinions, and then we'll go to the subspace probably in about 30 minutes or so. An Italian 30 minutes. Everyone knows what I mean. I wrote in my group chat, space starting in an hour, and then I started like an hour 45. And then everybody was like, you're 20 minutes late, you're 30 minutes late. Listen, I'm on Italian time. This is what happens when you have Italian genetics. But thank you, David. Stick around. You know the drill, David. Jump in anytime. Otherwise, let's continue on. This is what I want to do. I want to quickly check in with Andy Commie, then we'll go to Nico, and then I'll check in with Katie and Jane, and we'll take it from there. So let's go Andy Commie, Nico. I know Nico's often doing other things, and Andy Commie's having connection issues on occasion. So we want to say hi to her while we got her. But Andy Commie, are you there?
I'm here. I'm actually driving.
I knew it. How did I know?
Yeah, I wasn't here all morning, which I usually am listening to it, but I had a really crazy morning. And now I got to go meet someone for lunch. So perfect timing. Thank you. And I didn't hear anything, so I don't know your questions.
You're a
today.
busy young lady, and I know that when I haven't seen you at the start of the space that you are busy doing things. My pattern recognition serves me well. Now, one of the things we were talking about just now actually is sometimes when people are always involved in drama, probably most of the time, the common denominator is that person. Like the guy who tried to crush my cat, and he's always involved with drama because he causes it. On the other hand, I'm also always involved in drama somehow, but I don't really feel like I cause it. Somebody said, and David illustrated very well, he said kind of, people that are broken look for people that are kind of stable, and they kind of maybe they hope for them or they want them on a subconscious level to kind of fix them or whatever. Do you have any thoughts on this? And if I was to pose it as a question, maybe do you agree with this idea that sometimes people that are troubled, they look for people that are not troubled, and this is why you can sometimes see people who are not not bad people, not causing drama. They will get drama kind of drawn to them more than average. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think takers look for givers. And I think there's a personality trait that they look for, someone that's like easygoing or very generous. And I think that they kind of have it, they're pretty good at their game, so they know who to pick, So I think, especially online, I gotta stress, I don't have drama in my real life. I've had the same best friends since some of them since first grade, okay? And we don't have drama. So I don't hang out with drama people in real life. The only place I've ever had drama was X. I don't have drama on Instagram. I don't have drama anywhere. It's like all the psychopaths have come to X. So I think it's an X thing.
Yeah, social media in general. I remember I used to watch a lot of YouTubers, JF and Andy Warski and a few of them, and they're always entangled in drama. And I was always like, how do these guys keep getting into drama? Well, I know now because the people around them are fucking crazy. That's why they're always involved in drama. At the time, I didn't really understand social media. So I think it's true of YouTube, of X. It's true with a lot of social media and content creators, 100%. I love what you said as well about takers look for givers. I think this is very, very true. There are some people that shout out Preston Henshaw, and too many to mention, of course. But Preston is one of these people. Gives. He never asks anything in return. He'll offer to take the blame for me so many times. He'll be like, just blame me, just blame me. I don't want to do it because it's immoral. I don't want to take advantage of his good nature. I don't want to have him smeared with anything that might involve me. On top of that, I don't like to do that anyway. I hate lying because when you lie, you have to remember the lie you told, and there's nothing fucking worse than getting caught out in a lie. This is why. Listen, I'm not saying I'm Mother Teresa, but every single chance I get, I try to tell the truth. What did Jordan Peterson say? Always tell the truth, or at least don't lie. I try to stick to that. But yeah, the givers and takers, this is absolutely true. There are people who just love to take, and you got to avoid them where you can. Andy Common, we're also talking about the pink tax. Is it real or is it fake? Women's razors cost more than men's razors. Do you think it's just companies charging more because they know women will pay more, or do you think the products are actually different? Women's razors, they're shaped different. They've got more kind of fins to catch all their hairs, and the different colors cost more to produce. Do you think companies are just price gouging women, or do you think the products are different? That's why they cost different.
I think a little bit of both. It might be more to produce pink colors, purple colors. And I think they also know women are retarded and they'll spend money because they act like it's better or say it's better. So, and I think men are more price point oriented. But what we were talking about before, I don't want to put down everyone on X. I love you. I love Ski Bum. There's so many good people on the app too. Brett is amazing. Mandy's amazing. Kelly, Texas 2, TX2. She is an amazing person if anyone's not following her. Never drama. Jessica, I'm driving, so I can't really call everyone's name, but so many people in this room are just, everyone on the speaker panel is amazing. I don't want to act like everybody's bad, but it's those few bad apples that ruin it for everyone else. And they're always involved in some kind of drama. So it never ends. That's all.
Yeah, shout out Kettlebell Dan. He pointed this out that 95% of your interactions are actually very good, but the 5% really cause the drama. So it's important to remember the 95% of good interactions as well. Very good point. There's this thing in psychology as well. It's called loss aversion. Losses hurt more than gains feel good. So you can win, say at the casino or whatever. You get one loss, I forget the exact number, but it's something like one loss hurts as much. One loss hurts as much as 5 wins feel good. So when you win, it feels good. It takes one loss will wipe out 5 good wins. Basically, they're equivalent. So humans are designed and evolved to be more sensitive to loss and pain than they are to kind of victory and joy. So spot on. We also talked, Andy Comey, about women's dresses. I asked the women, why if a woman shows up at a party with the same dress, why do women care so much? If two men have the same shirt or pants or suit, they will high five each other. But the women become mortified. Do you have any ideas, Andy Comey?
I don't know because I never care about that. I don't care if someone like wears the same dress as me, copies me. I don't care. I don't care if I. Sorry, my phone. I think that's petty. I don't care if someone wears the same thing as me. I could care less.
I mentioned this to Heather because Heather had a similar position. I said to Heather, she's probably less female typical than a lot of females. Which explains why you and Heather get along so well. A lot of the female
Yeah.
stereotypes, she doesn't fit in with them, neither do you.
Yeah, she's not petty and she's really cool. I don't see her caring about that stuff. I just never cared. Like my friends would be like, "What are you wearing?" I want to make sure I'm not. I'm like, what does it matter what I'm wearing? Like, who cares? Like, I'll figure it out. Like right before we leave. And so I never cared about that stuff. I don't care if my friend buys the same thing as me and wears it the next day. Like, I just don't care. So, yeah, waste of energy.
100%. Yeah, it's rare to hear women say this or take that approach, but yeah, I completely agree. We also talked about neatness. Women when they cook, fucking sauces flying everywhere, oils everywhere, blah blah blah. Men seem to be more neat in my estimations. What do you think, Andy Comey? Who's more neat in general, not just in cooking, but even with the clothes and wardrobes? Do you think men and women are more neat?
I think men are more neat, and I think they also are more neat because they can't cook as well as women can cook, and they're more simple, so they don't use as much spice and this and that. Usually, they don't cook as well, in my opinion. Minus like the chefs, like I know there's a lot more top chefs that are men. I'm saying in general, but yeah, I'm a mess when I cook. I get stuff on my clothes. I really got to put on a different outfit when I cook. Maybe I'm just a mess. I don't know. But yeah, total mess.
It does seem to be the case. Women do make more of a mess, etc. I don't exactly know why, but I've definitely noticed it for sure. Last one, Andy Comey. I've got a post in a Jumbotron that says, believe only half of what you see and nothing that you hear. Do you have any thoughts on this expression? Have you heard it before? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I've heard of it, and I agree with that. Because you never know who the source is, and I don't really trust anything I hear about people on this site, especially anymore. I judge for myself, and I've been really good. I've been taking points from Heather to give it like some time before you get close to someone that's love bombing you. So I don't really believe what I say. You don't know where it's coming from. Jealousy, a good place. I guess it matters on the source, right? Who you're hearing it from.
Yes, 100%. I mean, I don't think that saying's meant to be taken literally. Certainly, the spirit of the saying has a lot of merit to it. But yes, many, many factors at play for sure. Now, do you have a favorite saying or expression, Andy Comey, that you like, that you live by, or that you find interesting?
You know it. No good deed goes unpunished. And with that said, my friend's waiting for me at brunch. So I will be listening as much as I can. And I'll see you next Saturday.
Thank you, my dear. Follow Andy Comey, notifications on. Absolute legend. We love her. Thank you, Andy Comey.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Check out Andy Comey's timeline as well. Very, very funny stuff. I do be laughing all the time. Let's check in with Nico, and then we'll go to Katie. Nico, are you there?
What's up, Hitch? How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you don't mind using my hosting intuition. I know Andy Comey and others are moving between sites, etc. So thanks for your patience, my friend. Really, really appreciate it. Before we go any further, I definitely want to tell people to check out your timeline. You do word of the day, word comparisons, all things linguistics. Very, very interesting timeline. I do be enjoying them, can confirm. Now, was there any that jumped out at you, or you want me to just hit you with the questions?
There was one thing that jumped out when I think you were asking Heather if there were any examples of a quote unquote macho tax for items that are marketed to men and are more expensive than their non male marketed counterparts. And I could think of an excellent example for that. There's this product called Dude Wipes, and they're just baby wipes, but they're way more expensive than them because dudes don't want to wipe themselves with a baby wipe because of the wording in the packaging.
Very, very interesting. No pun
Perfect,
intended.
Nico. I just wanted to say I was the one that asked that, Nico, and that's a great example. I DM'd Hitch and told him, I think also with the shaver handles, as long as they added a Bluetooth feature to it, they could charge a premium for guys.
Yeah, no kidding.
No pun intended, but I couldn't give two shits about what I'm wiping my ass with. I don't care if it's baby wipes or any other wipes. If dude wipes are twice the price, well, sorry, dude wipes, you're out the door. But I guess, I don't know, some people must care about it. It's a good example, though. Good marketing ploy.
Yeah, I think
Dude
you see
wipe.
it a lot with like energy drinks. There's quite a few things that are like exclusively male marketed. It makes me think of it's probably a better thing than the alternative though. Like if we just had generic stuff that wasn't marketed to men or women, everything would just kind of be homogenous, and it would be like the products that you see in like a communist society where you have like one brand of everything. And like capitalism's just the way to go. I did have one thing I was thinking about, the pink tax. You were actually making a logical error when you were suggesting that women should just buy the like male equivalents and that it would solve their problem. And the logical error is you're assuming that the problem is something else than it actually is. Because the problem that's really being presented isn't that women want a solution. They want to complain about it and feel better about it.
Nico always finds an occasion. I mean, listen, I toe the line. I go right up to the line sometimes of upsetting women. Nico comes with fucking long jump and he just jumps straight over the line. But I do appreciate it. What do you reckon, David?
He does
Well,
it
I don't have the
unconsciously.
best.
He goes, "What's?"
I
He
don't
does
have
it
the.
unconsciously. He goes, "What's this line doing here? Let's get this out of the way and then have this
Well,
conversation."
it's not even that. I just have terrible spatial reasoning, so I didn't even notice there was a line.
There you go. I mean, there's definitely some truth to what you're saying, so I'm not going to rebuke it. But I also don't want to, I don't want to hang myself, if that makes sense. Now, Nico, what do you make of the question I was asking people? Are companies charging more just because they can and they're price gouging, or is it partly justified that it's a different product that costs more to make, etc.? What do you think?
I'm more on Ski's side of this, especially with what I said about capitalism. Like, if you can sell something to somebody and they're willing to pay for it, as long as it's a mutual transaction, I think it's completely fine. If it gets to the point where it's being like exploitative, where you don't have any other alternatives, because there are other alternatives. Like women can totally just buy men's products that work just as well. But if a woman wants to have something like pink and frilly and feel better about having like bigger lubricating strips and all that, then more power to them as well. I'll just add as long as they're spending their own money and not mine on it.
As someone else alluded to that earlier, the reason women pay more is because it's not their money. Often it's a husband's, boyfriend's, whatever.
Right.
That point earlier, which is very funny.
Oh yeah, it's very easy to be irresponsible with someone else's money. just
I would
look at
also say
government.
that the term price gouging is kind of pejorative, right? So it just, as Skiba was saying, the market forces are just expressing themselves here. And where's the gouging? It's a mutual exchange by mutual consent to the mutual advantage of the person selling and the person buying.
Very, very good point. Nobody's being forced to buy anything. Yeah, well, I mentioned earlier, my position is that it's a different product. They often cost more to produce, but I also do feel like they do put a little bit of a markup. I gave the example earlier, chicken from the butcher's, whatever, $10 a kilo. But if you cover it in a marinade, the marinade only costs $1 a kilo. But, you can now charge someone $15 a kilo. That's where butchers make all their money from the marinades. Not all, but that's where they make the biggest margins, just by marinating something. So, I think it's similar.
I saw an interesting post about chicken the other day too, and kind of how like the economics of it work. Like if you go to the store and you see a rotisserie chicken that's already cooked is like $5. And then if you go over and you look at the raw chickens, they're like $8 to $9, which is kind of backwards economically if you're looking at it on its face. But there's a lot of nuance that goes into it, and I always found that interesting as well.
Yeah, why is raw chicken more expensive? That's interesting.
It has a
Well,
longer
it's
shelf
not so
life.
much that it's not so much that you're paying for the labor. It's more to eh, the $5 for a cooked chicken isn't really the price of the chicken. It's more of like an economic promise. Like it's a sign of kind of like real deep nuances that you could look into economics because it's something that brings people into the store. It's something like the price that doesn't change. Like a rotisserie chicken doesn't have a price; it has a promise with it.
Interesting. I've never heard it put that way, but it makes sense from a capitalistic standpoint. I don't know if you know the answer to this, Nico. The dress. We're asking why women get upset when they go to a party and the other woman has the same dress. Do you have any ideas?
Oh, I was thinking about it a little bit when you were talking, but then I started doing something else with my multitasking. I've been putting out my language content and I got all my spaces scheduled, so I hadn't really put enough thought into it. Um, I would assume it has something to do with intrasexual competition. Like if a woman's wearing a dress, it's most likely that she thinks she's cute in it. Like I don't think she would get upset if she saw, well, maybe she would get upset if she saw a woman in the same dress and it wasn't as cute because maybe it devalues the dress itself and takes away from her own cuteness. I don't know. It's too complex. I don't think we'll ever understand how women think.
Yeah, it could also be, I'm just thinking now, you know, women don't like to compete publicly, or at least not overtly, right? Women compete, but they pretend they're not. That's why they're always complimenting each other. Yeah, she's a 10, she's a 10, yes. And then as soon as she turns around, hate that bitch. Women pretend to get along publicly, but they compete privately. Whereas if two women are wearing the same dress, they're kind of being forced to compete publicly, which is why they both become uncomfortable. So it's one theory. Don't know how much truth there is to it. Nico, we're also talking about who's more neat in general, men or women. Do you have any thoughts?
Oh, this I was thinking because I have enough anecdotal references to this where I would actually consider the sample size large enough to be empirical. I used to be a janitor for the entire school district where I live, which spans like 2.5 cities and covers thousands upon thousands of people among age ranges down from like 5 all the way up to like 18. And women's public restrooms are by far magnitudes of order more disgusting than men's restrooms. Like hands down, full stop.
Is it the paper towel or just shit getting smudged everywhere? What dirty in what way?
It's everything. Like I don't want to get into the horror stories of cleaning women's public restrooms because I don't think they're appropriate for discussion in
Yeah,
any public
thank
space.
you. Yes, I agree. I'm surprised at that. I always had the impression that men's toilets would be much dirtier, but Unsalty was here earlier. He said he done cleaning for a little while, And yeah, he said the women's toilets are way more dirty, which is interesting. Fascinating.
Well, I think it's because like women have exclusively stalls. Like you would see about, I think part of it that goes into it is men's restrooms, they're only about half private. The rest of it's pretty much public because we have urinals and you don't have much privacy in urinals. And I think they're neat publicly. And I think men and women are both animals when it comes to being in private. And being that women's restrooms are entirely private because they're all stalls, I think it gives them an excuse to just be more animalistic.
Interesting. Probably some truth to that. And like you said, they're all stalls. That probably plays a role as well, just in terms of the amount of use. So, makes sense. Last one, Nico, and then of course I'll throw to you final words. Edgar Allan Poe, believe only half of what you see and nothing that you hear. What do you think of this? And do you have a favorite expression or saying that you live by?
I think it's an excellent expression. I don't think I've ever thought about expressions explicitly enough to actually have a favorite one. I like the one that David was starting to go into when he was talking about entertaining a thought. There's a quote by Aristotle where he says the mark of a great mind is to be able to entertain a thought without adapting it.
Owen Benjamin actually quote posted me saying that exact thing, which I was very impressed about. Shout out Owen Benjamin.
Yeah, I really like Aristotle. I've been throwing a pun around recently because Aristotle has his own brand of, it's called Nicomachean ethics, and I've been able to pun that into my own name quite frequently.
Let's go. The thing I like about that expression is I sometimes will talk about things and then people think I'm promoting them. Gad Sad will say this as well. He'll say, like, someone who talks about, an oncologists deal with blood cancer, whatever. An oncologist talks about cancer doesn't mean they're promoting cancer. They're just talking about it. So people really get their panties in a twist. You talk about something, like, oh, you're in favor of it. I'm not in favor of anything. Sometimes I just like to talk about things. It's interesting to entertain ideas.
There's also some nuance to that. I would put a little bit of light comedic pushback to that. I think an oncologist has to be, at least to some degree, in favor of cancer, or they'd all be out of work.
No.
That's why I said it was comedic.
Oh, I see. Sorry. I missed that part. Yeah, I live with a cancer researcher, so no, they want to cure it.
Yeah, I agree with you there on the serious part, but it was made in jest.
So, for example, when I've talked about eugenics working in humans, people will be like, you're in favor of eugenics. I have to, like, every single time I have to do the caveat. I'm not promoting it. I'm not saying we should do it. I'm not encouraging it. But it would work. If you wanted to make everybody short, all you had to do is, send all the tall people to the moon and leave them there. Then what would you have? You eventually would end up with a short population. The same is true in reverse. If you wanted to make everybody tall, all you have to do is send all the short. Anybody short, don't let them have kids. Send them to the moon, and you'll end up with a very tall population. So, just when I talk about eugenics, the fact that it would work in humans, oh, you're in favor, you're promoting it, blah, blah, blah. No, I am just, talking and entertaining a subject without promoting it or encouraging or anything like that. So, I mean, people will.
I love the pushback when someone says, like, you're promoting eugenics. I like to say everyone is in favor of eugenics. You don't see people seeking out like dysgenic, fat, short, ugly people as mates. Like eugenics is just actually a neutral term. I think the reason a lot of that like conversation happens is because we don't talk about like the difference between policy-based eugenics and just passive eugenics.
There's also, I was just going to say, people will notice that I really talk about that subject anyway. So, like, I'm bringing it up very often. The other funny thing people do, I will talk about IQ, and then people will say, you're a eugenicist. IQ is a completely separate field, first of all. And individual differences have nothing to do with eugenics. So why is one brother smarter than another brother has nothing to do with eugenics. But yeah, it's the other thing which you alluded to just then, Nico. There is positive eugenics and negative eugenics. Positive eugenics is selecting for positive traits. Negative eugenics is generally described as eliminating people with poor genes. So I don't think, women are the biggest eugenicists around. As Nico was alluding to, women are way, way, way more fussy with their partners than men are. You can just look at hypergamy, etc. Because women are the sexual selectors. So, positive eugenics.
It's funny too, because women will generally be the ones calling people out as eugenicists.
Correct. Well, when people say, when the left says eugenicist, what they mean is somebody who wants to kill handicapped people. That's what they mean. Well, that's negative eugenics. So, but yeah, anyway, back to this saying. I like it. I like the saying, you can entertain things without you should be able to discuss things without saying you're promoting them, etc., etc. Nico, do you have any more, just in case I didn't get myself into trouble by saying the true fact that positive eugenics would work in humans? I'm not promoting it or saying we should do it, but it would work. Do you have any final words, Nico, or do you have any other expressions, anything else you want to add?
I wouldn't mind calling out my spaces this week if you don't mind.
Please, of course.
So Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm doing the next episode of How to Think in Spaces, Tips for Intermediate Speakers. So that's where we get to practice more of the art of conversation, a little bit past the concept of like beginners for spaces. We talk about a little bit more high concepts and ethics and etiquette of spaces. That one's always a lot of fun. We have really fun conversation. And then, of course, I'll be having my music and pseudo conversation spaces as well. Tuesday night at 10:30 Eastern, I will be doing the 8-Bit Show, where we just kind of veg out, have a boys club talking about video games and playing a little bit of music. Shout out to David, because he actually showed up to the last episode and really made it a much higher intellectual space. We had some fun conversations about board games and chess and books and reading. It was a really fun time. Wednesday, I'll be doing sleep radio at 10:30 Eastern. I'm going to be doing a Celtic theme for the music this time. And then Friday, I will be doing my Sonic Boom Unplugged, where I have members of the different music communities make acoustic covers of their songs or new acoustic songs. And that one's always a heck of a lot of fun as well.
Follow Nico, notifications on, check out his spaces and his timeline. Very, very interesting content. Thank you, Nico. Appreciate it, my friend.
For sure. Thanks for having me up.
Thank you.
And I am going to go fishing tonight. I'm pretty excited. I'm going to go back to that spot where I caught that snapping turtle last time, see if I can hook him again, because I'm actually set up to prep him and butcher him and grill him up if I can bring him back in.
Well done on the steak pictures you shared in our group chat as well. Very, very nice. I don't know if you found a way to get around this, but I like to generally buy the steaks a bit thicker if I can. When the steaks are thin, you got to choose between the steak being properly cooked or a crust. It's very hard to get both. So I try to get a thick steak so you can build up the crust while the center doesn't overcook.
I actually do have a way around it.
Yeah, tell us.
It takes a lot more time when you're prepping the steak. Generally, if you take the time to dry age it for like 2 to 3 days, just open air in your fridge and liberally apply salt to it to help draw out some of those surface juices and change the protein structure of the meat. And then if you cook it on really high temperature, like 450, 475, you can end up with a nice crust to it. I just didn't have time to do it with this most recent one because I basically bought it the same day to treat myself because my date had ended up canceling on me.
This is absolutely true. Dry aged beef gets a crust much faster and you get more carryover cooking because there's less moisture. So fact check true. Nico right again. Let's go. This is what I want to do. I think Mandy's saying having connection problems. She dropped down a couple of times. I want to check in with Mandy. I see we got Katie, we got Miss Lou, and I want to say hi to Skindy as well. And a little bit, we also got Jane on stage as well. Mandy, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? There's a famous Brock Lesnar quote where he says that.
Okay. So earlier when you were talking about women getting rid of everything and getting everything new, I just have to say I actually have clothes from middle school, so I'm not like some of my stuff has holes in it. I'm worse than a man. I don't throw it away. I just keep it until it like dies physically, but then it has so many memories attached to it. So then it goes in the very back of my closet and I might sleep in it or occasionally just pull it out and look at it. I'm not big on shopping, actually, believe it or not. I normally don't even know what to wear if it's not scrubs. I have a couple nice dress outfits, but honestly, 90% of my closet is scrubs and clothes from like middle school and high school.
How do you deal with what do you do with clothes? Like I got a couple of old t-shirts that I love. They're falling apart, but like I said, I got a lot of sentimental value. I just wear them to sleep mostly. I wouldn't wear them to go outside. What do you do with those clothes, man? Do you just keep them? Do you store them?
I keep them.
Yeah.
I just keep them. They're not going anywhere. Like if Anna Banana wants to bury me with them one day, that's fine. Or she can pass them on to her grand to my great grandchildren. It can be a family heirloom. I think one of them's my senior shirt, and it has like all the sponsors from the bank and like Napa, and it's it was one of my favorite high school memories. So I kept it, and it's it's like it's an off white now, almost like a ash white.
Say again, Miss Lou. No. Mandy, can you say the last bit again? It's turned off white.
Oh
So
yeah,
sorry, Hitch. My phone was in my pocket. I'm feeding horses and it turned the mic on. I
You're
apologize.
fine. No worries at all.
Miss Lou just said she wanted to borrow my shirt. You can borrow it,
Let's go.
but it has to be returned. No, it used to be like a really bright white. Now it's more like an off beige, almost like an ash white, because it's really old. Because now I'm really old.
I've got this very old pair of jeans that have holes in them, and not by design. You know, these designer jeans with holes. These are just worn out holes. I only wear them to do the lawn gardening. But they have a lot of sentimental value. They came with me overseas. I've been through a lot in those jeans. But I can't bring myself to throw them out. But like I said, I would never wear them like out, like down the street or something, because they're old and you can tell they're decrepit. But I just
Yeah,
can't throw them out. I
never
can't bring myself to get rid of them.
never throw them away. And instead of buying something new to be buried in, I would suggest telling your loved ones that's what you want to go out in. People spend like hundreds and even thousands of dollars on what they're going to be buried in to try to impress people like one last time. Absolutely not. No. Like save your money. Yeah, just put on like my high school t-shirt, my old pair of shorts or jeans, whichever. Maybe throw on some flip-flops. I mean, I'm dead. I'm gone. I don't really care. But definitely don't go out and buy me something new and fancy because I'm not trying to impress anybody now, and definitely not after I'm dead. Like, just let me rest in peace for sure. Save your money.
Very, very good advice. What do you reckon about the pink tax? Do you think that companies are just overcharging, or do you think, they're making a different product that's harder to produce, therefore they're justified in charging more?
I don't know what the pink tax is. Like I said, I'm not a shopper, but I think we're overtaxed on everything. If they could find a way to tax us for breathing at this point, I'm pretty sure they would do
Yeah, let me
that.
tell people
So
and the listeners as well, because some people might not know. There is this belief that, and sometimes it's true, but they're not always the same product. So you can take a razor. A 3-blade men's razor costs $10 with the 4 cartridges, whereas a 3-blade women's razor costs $13. This is true for women's shampoo, women's soap, women's hair care, all kinds of stuff. The female version costs more. Now, it's not a tax from the government. It's just that, companies apparently charge women more. Now, the question is it the same product? Or, is the extra money because the product's better? Does it have more moisturizer? Do they do more advertising for the product? Is it, harder to produce, to fabricate? The razor, for example, is a completely different shape. The men's razor is just the stick. the woman's razor looks like an hourglass figure of a woman, so it costs more to produce. So this is the pink tax. Do you think the companies are overcharging, or do you think it's just the products cost more?
Oh, don't even get me started on Big Pharma. Hitch will be here for days upon days. Okay, so, starting like back before I was even thought of, they had these unrealistic standards for women. They push and push, and now since women are outside the homes working, they have this extra money. What should you spend it on? Well, you should spend it on Botox and all these other products. And you get on TikTok, and you can't even be on TikTok for 2 seconds without them trying to sell you skincare. And it's not even like most of the skincare is the exact same skincare. It's just you pay more and more for it. And also, like men razors shave better than women razors. I 10 out of 10 highly recommend using men razors if you're a woman. Way better. They're like night and day better. Also, where was I going with this? Big Pharma evil, so bad, yes. Yes, it's very true because that's what they sell you. It's women, you need more makeup. You need to take this diet pill. You're not you look too real. Like you need to lose another 15 pounds. Your skin is not perfection. Like you can't have a pimple. You can't have a wrinkle. You can't it's just because now you're ugly and old and then you have like these what's his name? He looks like he's dressed like a 12-year-old. He sold like a 12-year-old kid's clothes. The Tate guy who's like, "Oh yeah, after you're 25, like you're old and you should just be like shot in the woods somewhere." So then you have like all this all these pressures of being like obtaining this perfection that doesn't exist. I mean, for me to take a really great picture, I have 3 freaking lights to shine on my face to get like the most absolutely gorgeous look, and then I have to get the sun just right behind me. The sun has to be right. So I have this big round light in my car. Like they mount onto my the visor. So I got a big round one up there to take like a picture that makes my skin look like it's glowing. And that's crazy. It's so crazy. So yes, women have been sold this lie that we can look perfect, but we can't. It costs a lot of money. I tell everyone anyone can be beautiful. It just depends on how much money you're willing to pay. Vanity's a fool's gold. Like, make sure you're smart. Thanks for my ramble,
No,
Hitch.
completely agree. Obviously, women have to invest a lot more in their appearance because of partly because of how society is structured, but also partly because men are very visual creatures, and let's be honest, men are way more superficial in terms of what they look for, etc. In a lot of degrees. The other thing we're asking people, Mandy, is who do you think's more neat in general, on average, men or women? In terms of, you know, when women cook, they seem to throw sauce everywhere, it goes all over the counter, goes on the walls, the oil goes everywhere, blah, blah. Women seem to be a lot more messy, both just in general, in cooking, with their clothes, with their wardrobe. What do you think? Who's more neat on average, men or women?
I think that just is a personality thing. Some women have OCD, some men have OCD. I like to clean as I cook. I like to so that way I don't have a big mess when I get done. I mean, I do get a little messy. I mean, that's true because I use all the spices. I use the oil. Like if I'm going to eat and I'm going to gain these carbs and calories, it's going to taste good. It's going to taste damn good. So, I use everything. I mean, so it is a little messy, but I do clean as I go. As far as clothes go, it depends on how tired I am. If I've worked like, like 12, 12, 16, 16, 12, 12, I will have like a pile in my laundry room and I'm not even ashamed of it, okay? I will get to it whenever I get to it. Realistic standards are set in place for me. I keep my standards for myself super low. I mean, it's like is the bar is very low for me. So just whatever I get done, as long as I'm breathing and a banana is breathing and alive, then I'm like, "Oh, good job. Good job, Mandy. Good job. You're doing great." You're doing great. Good job.
Well, Mia was here earlier, and completely different kettle of fish when you're trying to look after a kid on your own and stuff like that. So, makes perfect sense. You just have to prioritize certain things first, especially your child. So it makes perfect sense. Last one, Mandy, and of course, jump in on anything else if you heard anything that piques your interest. What do you think of the expression Edgar Allan Poe? He says, "Believe only half of what you see and nothing that you hear." Have you heard this before? What do you think about it?
I have heard this. I actually went to one of those, I'm not sure what they're called. They have, like, the candle lights, and it's, like, poetry, and they reenact there's a name for it. Um, I will look up that name, and I
You mean
will
like a play, like a theater?
so what
A
they do
seance?
No, so what they do is you go and you dress in, like, almost, like, goth clothes, all blacked out and stuff, and you have to give them like, a password to get in. It's really kinda cool, and then, like, they have, like, candles everywhere and lights. There's a word for it, but I'm kinda tired today, so I cannot think of what that word is. But, so anyways, yes, I went to one of Edgar Allan Poe's readings where they get up and do that, but see, I'm talking in circles. This is how you can tell my brain is half
So, did you
asleep.
like the? What do you think of the saying? So you heard this saying at the poetry reading? Does that resonate?
Yes, I definitely think it's true, and especially when it comes to people, because you never know what that person's going through that day, and you might catch them on their worst day, you might catch them on their bad day. Um, People's financial situations change, their living situation, like everything in a person's life is ever changing. So I always try to hold people to the same standard that I would hold myself, which is super low, as we've already discussed. So yes, I do believe that to be wholeheartedly true. Yeah, I'm coming. 1 second.
Last one from me. Do you have a famous saying or expression yourself, or quote that you like that resonates with you?
I have a ton. One of my absolute favorites is vanity is a fool's gold, and of course, my bio. If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things, because, like I said, people are ever changing, and they're gonna let you down. Everyone is gonna let you down eventually. I mean, it's just part of life. No one's perfect, but you know what, you guys, you so sorry. I'm coming. Um, Everyone, make sure you are following Hitch Slap and hit that subscribe button. You're guaranteed a 50-point IQ. I am off of my lunch break. Thank you for letting me come up here and speak with you, Hitch Slap. I love you. I see Mike down there with his little thumb down. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Mandy. We love you. Follow Mandy notifications on. Check out her timeline. Another one, very, very funny and interesting and apt things there. Can't confirm.
Did she just say that your IQ will drop to 50 if you follow Islam?
I think she said you will gain 50 if you
Oh, I see.
if you follow me, you lose 50. If you subscribe, you gain 50.
Okay. I see.
So that's the deal, roughly speaking. When I first got subscribers, I was promising people 5 IQ points, 10 IQ points, 30. Mandy always goes next level though. She promises people 50 to 60.
Well, from what you said earlier, you have to make sure you're not putting them into midwit category, right? If they're the clod and troubled by a spark, you might want to leave them there instead of move them into the midwit.
Yes.
David,
So,
was you that told the Hitch Slap he should open a space for the midwits?
Yeah, it's just no. No. I said he should open a space for the people that are fighting.
It's the
Just a gla-
midwits?
I'm just thinking like something gladiatorial. Sort of like get the drama queens all in there.
yeah, I mentioned that some of my mutuals are fighting, and I'm just told them all I'm staying out of it. And David said I should get them in here to fight for the space to keep people entertained.
You could host once a month like an octagon for drama.
I
Well, what
would
do we call
love to
that?
host it as long as it's not with people that I know. I love
about a-
other people's drama. If I
How
see
about a
other
drama
people
gun?
drama gun, that's so funny. If I see drama and I don't know anybody involved, I fucking love it. Yes, let's go. This is great. But as soon as there's one person involved that I like, well, then I don't like the drama anymore because I feel bad. And it's the worst when it's two people that I like, both of them fighting with each other. That's the worst. But yeah. So on stage we have David Ski, shout out. We've got Katie, famous Miss Lou. Let's go. We've got Jane, Nico, and Maritia. I see the hands. We've got Miss Lou, Jane, Katie, and famous, and then we will close out the space. I want to check in with Miss Lou, and then we'll go to Jane and Katie, and then we'll give famous final words. Miss Lou, please jump in.
Thank you so much, Hitch. Hi, David. Hi, Ski Bum, and everybody else. I'm going to talk a little bit about the pink tax for a second because it's really going to be the red-green tax, if you get my joke about this. I posted it in the Purple Pill. The city of New York is urging all women to start covering their heads, and here's the kicker. Taxpayers are paying for the police department in New York City to go around teaching women how to properly wear a hijab. Yeah, that's happening. So if women don't start waking up in this country and realize that this is what they want, this is changing the culture, this is Mao, this is all of it, they want all women in New York to start covering their head, and that's just the beginning, kids. Red green means
Wow, twin light zone.
yeah,
What is that?
this is the beginning of the red green alliance, the communist Islam merge. So now I'm going to end it with that. Y'all take a look at the post. And the second thing I want to bring up is I posted a really cute video that someone had put out. I reposted it. I've gotten more reposts on this than anything in recent history, like a lot. Okay. And it's a post of a little octopus that got rescued and how he reacts to being rescued, and that, some of it may be true, a lot of it is AI. So I'm getting all these people saying that's AI slop, and my
It
response
was
is
Miss
my
Lou, thank you for that. That was
oh,
so entertaining. I
wasn't
loved
it?
it.
Wasn't it? So, anyways, I've also put that in the Purple Pill for your enjoyment. Take a look at it, enjoy it, and realize, yes, it's AI slop, but some AI slop is just entertaining, creative, fun, inspirational, and is not trying to sell you anything. Okay,
Remember, Miss
that's the
Liu,
key.
what I said for the commenter that was
Yes,
talking about?
yes,
I
I did.
said I was blunt. I said, please. I was seeing so much enjoying the video, like for 1-2 minutes,
Yes, you did.
smiling and happy out of my life, and there comes an anonymous guy. Oh, this is a yoy slop. I
Yeah,
knew
I
it
know.
was, but I didn't want to. I said, oh, I would rather not to know that because I was enjoying so much. Thank you very much. Have a
You're
nice
welcome.
day.
It's like there's always going to be a turd that wants to get in the punch bowl. Okay, so that's what I'll say about that. Hitch, thank you so much for the mic. I appreciate it. I hope you got to see Tuner. It's getting quite the raves. It's a great movie. You guys have got to see it. Dustin Hoffman, probably in close to one of his last roles. He's in his late 80s. So
I love Dustin Hoffman. Have
well,
you seen Lost in Train? No. Oh, it's the one with the voice in the sky. It's got
oh yeah.
Will Ferrell. I was gonna say Lost in Translation, but that's not
No,
what it's
that's
called.
Coppola's daughter.
Stranger Than Fiction. Stranger Than
Oh yeah,
Fiction.
Stranger Than Fiction. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I have not seen that, so I'll put that on my list. But I heard it was
One
great.
of my favorite films. Dustin Hoffman is excellent in it.
Yeah, he's
He
good.
doesn't have a massive role, but I'm a big fan of his.
I am too, except for his politics. But as an actor, he's always been fabulous.
Always.
I was alive when he did The Graduate, and it was released. Okay, I just turned 73 2 days ago, so
Was that
I
the
remember.
movie where? Was that the movie where an older woman tries to seduce him?
Well, yeah, Mrs. Robinson. That was one of the first on-screen older woman played by the famous actress that just so good. Anyway, it's a great.
Well,
If you haven't seen the movie, go back and see The Graduate because it is
I think
a
that's
Wasn't it
Anne
classic.
Bancroft.
Jacqueline something?
Was it Jack
Anne
or
Bancroft.
something?
No, and I can't. I'll know it when I hear it, but
M-
you know,
Mrs. Robinson was played by Anne Bancroft.
Thank you, Anne. I
There
remember
it
Anne. I'll
is.
get to the Bancroft part. Thank you, David. But yeah, if you haven't seen the movie or if you'd like to revisit it, it really is quite spectacular. And that was one of Dustin Hoffman's very, very first roles. So, and Catherine Ross, by the way, that made her, that was her breakout. So,
Well, I'll check out Tuna because I haven't seen it.
oh, go see Tuner. You've got to see Tuner. It's really fabulous. So, what else?
If
That's
I may, real quick, Hitch, it sounds like what Miss Lou just said is, "Here's to you, Mrs. Robinson."
Uh-huh.
absolutely.
Good save.
My favorite line though in that movie, and it applies to today. A guy was walking up to Dustin Hoffman, who was into, Hoffman's graduating. It's his future and planning his career. And the guy walks up to him and says, "I'm going to give you one piece of advice: plastics." And what he meant, even back in the time, was credit cards. And it didn't hit me until much later that that's what he was talking about. Plastics. Because I thought plastics, okay, they're talking about, things made of plastic. Okay, that's a big future. Yeah. No, he was talking about credit cards. Woo-wee. Hollywood's so prescient on purpose.
100%.
Anyway,
Thank,
thank you, Hitch, for
thank
the
you, Miss
mic.
Lou. Thank you, my dear. Appreciate it. Stick around on stage, of course. Jump in if you want to add anything else. No problem. Otherwise, follow Miss Lou. Notifications on. Let's go. A little interesting thing I learned about credit cards recently. If you pay off your credit card early, or like you take out a loan and you pay off the loan early, it actually makes your credit score go down. What they want is if you don't pay it, it makes your credit score down, and if you pay it early, it also makes your score go down. They want you to pay it off, as long as time as possible to pay the most interest. That will make your score go up. So I was shocked when I heard this, that yeah, paying off your loan early will make your credit score go down. Very, very interesting. But Miss Lou, thank you, my dear. Appreciate it. We got Jane, we got Katie, and we got Ski. Let's go. Let's check in with Jane, and we'll go to Katie, and we'll give Famous the final words before I go to my co-host. Jane, thank you for your patience, my dear. Really, really appreciate it. How's it going?
Well, hello there. It's going fantastic. I'm having a great Saturday morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing very, very well. We've been talking about. Are you familiar with the pink tax? Had you heard this term before?
Well, you explained it earlier, and yes, I am very familiar with that. Oh my goodness.
What do you
Yes.
attribute it to? Do you think it's just companies are price gouging, charging women more, or do you think the product actually costs more to make?
No, but I think what Mandy said was spot on. I really think that the whole thing is that women are easier to sell to, and because it's got the word woman on it, it costs more money. And I don't think it's any harder to make or anything. It's just that women's products are more expensive than men's products, except for when it comes to tools. Then they get you guys. When you want to buy your tools to fix your car and stuff like that, I think they jack that price up for you guys, and wood and plywood and all that kind of stuff. So they get you guys on the other side, but we all end up paying more for something. And yeah, that's kind of how I see it. I think like I will I'll I love Levi's. I'll buy Levi's from the men's section because they truly are like $30 or more less than female pants. And the whole reason is because I did one time thought, well, I'm going to buy a ladies pair just to see if it fits different, or just for kicks and giggles, I guess. Okay, I paid $30 more for the same type of pants, same kind of style, 501s, and I paid an extra $30 so that they could put a little slit on the side of the leg, to make it look fashionable, because you have to have a hole in your jeans somewhere if you're a woman. Uh, I guess that's the new rule. So yeah, I paid $30 so they could rip a hole in the pants, and I was rather disappointed. It was the hole was manufactured. You know how they make holes in pants and sell them that way because they want it to look that way. But no, yeah, there's a pink tax, no doubt about it. Levi's, all that kind of stuff. So much more money for women's than they are for men's. And I don't really Hitch Slap, I don't really know why that is. Why do you think they do that?
My theory is two things. First of all, we just take razors for example. The men's razors, let's take the Mac 3. It's just a metal frame. It's got a little bit of rubber, and then it's got a very straightforward blade with a lubricating strip. The women's razor, it's shaped like an hourglass. It looks like a woman's body. It's pink. One I saw is like opaque, so it's made out of this like see-through plastic that like shimmers in the light. They got two lubricating strips, and then they got all these fins that apparently do something. I don't know what the fuck. So the woman's razor, to me, was, it looks like it's going to cost way more to manufacture. The molding is going to be completely different. It's going to be more complicated. It's got all these crazy colors. Again, it was like opaque with these like stars and whatever built into it. And then you've got all these extra fins and stuff. So, but on the other hand, I think they put in all this, little extra stuff because they know they can charge more. I mentioned about the butchers. Butchers can charge $10 a kilo for chicken, but if they add like a marinade to it or a sauce or whatever, now they can charge 15. Even though the sauce only costs $1 or $2 more per kilo, they can charge more because it's different, it's better, it's upscaled. So that's what I think is going on with most women's products. They're better products. They're more complicated, whatever. But I think they cost more to make, but they're also putting a little bit of extra on top. Probably also partly because of the marketing. I think they spend extra money on marketing for women. Men don't need that much marketing. You just like, we got some men's razors. Okay, let's go. Whereas women are like, you've been working all day. You've worked hard. You've got a stressful life. Spoil yourself with the fucking Gillette razor that's shaped like a woman's hourglass figure.
You know what? Yeah, I guess that's what I was trying to say with the Levi's. Exactly. I suppose they do justify charging more because they're doing a little something more with it. They're putting some sauce on our razors, and your razors don't get any sauce, so we have to pay $15 more for a razor. I get that. Yeah. Um, and women, yeah, they everything that Mandy was saying, I was just relating to her so much because holy moly. I mean, they really do go after us with, you can't even hardly look in the mirror without seeing something wrong with yourself because of the way that we've been brought up with all the commercialism and stuff like that. Like she said, you're not allowed to get old. If you are old, then you're considered ugly. If you are old, you better go get your chin fixed, and get some Botox for those lines up there on your between your eyes. You don't want people thinking you're mean or anything. All this stuff that they, get, here's one for you, Hitch. Have some padding inserted into your butt, so you can have a bigger butt and things like that. And this bigger butt thing, something, this ever since I have been coming to your spaces, I have been obsessed with this idea of big booties. Not obsessed that I want one, but obsessed to how I have been wondering what goes on with the fashion scene and the way that people desire a female body. And I'm up there, I'm over the hill, so I'm past my expiration date, as far as that goes. Um, but I was looking, back in, okay, Marilyn Monroe, that was considered like the perfect body. But she was round, she had curves, and she wasn't perfectly thin. And then go by a couple 20 years, and then all of a sudden we have somebody who was known, her name was Twiggy, and that was back in the 69 70s, and everybody had to be pencil thin. And so, for a long time, being completely thin as a woman and a big booty back in the 70s and the 80s would have been something that would have been shamed on. They would have been telling you, if you want to get rid of those saddlebags and that butt and this, that, and here's a product and here's what you can do. I mean, that was the scourge of the earth to have something like that. And now all of a sudden, having a big booty like that is a big thing now. But I grew up for most of my life. It was a woman's rear end should be shapely, but not too big. That was
So
always the rule back then.
the greatest success of my spaces is to get you more interested in paying more attention to big booties. Is that right?
I think so. I think that has been the success to your story.
Let's go. Let's go.
I
Well,
really do. I spend a lot of time thinking about why men are into these big booties all of a sudden. And then, even more so, Hitch, I can't understand why women are buying into it. I was traveling, so I was in quite a few airports over the last month and a half. And I saw women with padded blue jeans. One girl, she didn't have her padding on correctly, and her butt was crooked. And I was like laughing to myself. I'm like, this is so ridiculous. What the heck is going on that you would wear padding in your pants so that your butt looks bigger? I'm like, what has this world
well,
come
most
to?
if you believe that we, closely related to chimpanzees and primates, most primates, they make love, from behind. The buttocks are the sex signal. It's only a recent thing in human, with Homo sapiens sapiens. Women develop breasts to kind of attract the man from the front, etc. So it makes sense why men are interested in butts, especially around buttocks, big booties, as they say. But you are right. Trends have kind of gone up and down a little bit with different trends of body size, etc. But definitely no surprise that men like booties. This is very, very common, very well understood.
Oh, definitely booties and legs. My husband's an ass and leg man, and even though don't have a big Latino booty, I've got a nice booty in my husband. That was what attracted him to me too. So, and
I
I
am so
also and I
ashamed.
also have the legs to go with it. So I have been blessed with a beautiful pair of legs and a butt, but it's not a Latino butt. It's a
You,
German butt.
you,
I am so ashamed of my Brazilian big booty, and you guys talking about the booty all the
no,
time.
Oh
no
my
need.
God, please don't
Jesus
be
Christ,
ashamed. Oh no, 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 because I
that's fat.
I have to say that when I do look at women who are very shapely and do have more padding on their rear end than I do, I do admire their figures. I
Okay.
enjoy looking at different figures and stuff like that. I'm not a man and I'm not a lesbian, but I'm an artist, and I love the human form, and I love to, I just observe. And
Well, there you go. I have successfully brainwashed Jane,
yes, she
which was
is
my
now a
plan all
booty
along.
lover.
That was my plan all along. Let's go. Jane, I got one more for you, and then I want to say we got Katie, we got Gretchen, and we got Famous as well. I've been asking people about this Edgar Allan Poe quote. Believe only half what you see and nothing that you hear. Have you heard this quote before, and what do you make of it?
Oh, I kind of, you know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like never trust and always verify, because
Yes.
believe half of what you see and the rest of what you just said and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't believe half of what I hear here on this app for sure. When I hear people talking in spaces, and sometimes I hear some of the stuff, especially when they get into medical stuff, I'm like, Oh my God, do they have that twisted up? And, that isn't even the name of it. That's not the chemical. That's not what it is. Because I used to be a nurse, so I know a lot about medicine. And yeah, I turn over in my grave listening to stuff like that. Uh, and I just wanted to tell you my favorite saying, real quick, before we end, is what you think upon grows.
Very, very apt.
I have grown up with that. That's been with me for many, many years. And so I really work hard at not thinking about things that are negative.
Reminds me of a similar one: energy flows where attention goes, or something to this effect. Where you put your attention and focus is where you'll get the rewards, so to speak. Follow Jane notifications on. Thank you, Jane. Appreciate it, my dear. This is what I want to do. I want to let people know after the next three speakers will be going to a subscriber space. I'm going to need to take a little break. If you do want to subscribe, it's $3 a month. You get spaces every Saturday, most Saturdays, almost every Saturday, and then you get subscriber only spaces after those, and a subscriber only group chat. So if you want to subscribe, $3 a month, hit subscribe. I want to say hello to Gretchen, and then we'll go to Katie, and then we'll give famous final words. Gretchen, are you there?
Hi, Hitch. How are you?
Good. I don't often get you in my spaces, so I thought I'd take the opportunity. A lot of people have been having connection issues, so I thought I'd grab you while I had you available. How are things? How have you been?
You know, really busy. I've just relaunched Coda Vets, my veteran nonprofit, and I have veterans in the pipeline in various stages of being vetted and assisted. And it's been crazy. Like, just it's taken off again. I'm so excited and proud of it. But I just want to touch on Jane's topic of the booty. Oh my God.
Let's go.
That's what,
This
that's
is
what,
all women talking about their booties. I can't wait.
Okay, so I like a good booty myself. I love to look at women's bodies. I think women's bodies are absolutely beautiful, stunning works of art. So and all different sizes of behinds are attractive, right? Am I right?
I mean, yeah, I'm an ass man myself. I'm a lover of the big booty, correct? So, yes, anytime I see a big booty, or what I don't like, no disrespect to any flat booties, but flat booties, I really feel I'm going to call out one in particular. And it makes it easy for me because I don't like her as a person. Who's a chick from Captain Marvel, the actress who played in Captain Marvel? Her name is escaping me. Oh, I'll have to look it up in the break. Anyway, she's an actress. She has
Is
been
it Angela Jolie?
no, no, no. Captain Marvel, the woman, she's
Okay.
in the Marvel universe. She's made a couple of. She's a very strong feminist as well, and she famously told people to don't go and watch a movie because it wasn't made for them. Like it wasn't made for straight white men. The movie tanked, and then she started complaining about sexism. Anyway, if you're people to look up, she has the flattest pancake booty I've ever seen. Absolutely horrendous. So I'm sorry to all the ladies out there with a flat booty, but yes, I like a big booty myself.
Hey, but what about the little tight perky ones too? Come on now.
Yes, yes. I also like, little tight perky booties are absolutely fine as well. Shapely, in good shape. The only booties I don't like are flat ones. Flat pancake booties are not for me. But yeah, small booties are big booties, all booties. I'm a big booty man. Booties and legs can confirm. So Gretchen, you like looking at shapely women, is that right?
Yes, I do. I went through a divorce journey this past year, and I got back into the gym and transformed my body, but I did it more to strengthen myself emotionally and mentally, which it worked. I feel stronger on so many different levels, but I've become now almost obsessed with the gym. It's a good place to go to relieve stress, especially given what I do with veterans. We assist a lot of veterans who are in crisis. So anyway, being there at the gym, I watch the men and women who are working out, and I just think the human body, the human form is beautiful. It really is, especially when you're taking care of yourself, and it just makes all the difference. So I look at men and women. I just think the human body is gorgeous.
What's only if you're comfortable, of course, and no pressure. But what's your favorite part of a man? Are you an arms man or pecs? What do you like on a man?
I like a big, strong chest, and I like it hairy. I like to rub my fingers through a man's chest hair. Oh my God. That is so sexy,
We
especially
we
if they
had
have big pecs.
Yeah, well, I will say I am Italian. I definitely have a hairy chest, but we had a big debate recently. Someone in the space hated hair. They didn't like any hair on a man. They found it terrible. And the other girl was loving the hairy chest. And it was a bit of a civil war
Yeah,
between
well,
me.
I could get involved with that because who wants a shaved body? Oh my God, because you're going to have stubble and that feels, terrible when you're
Right,
rubbing on
Brad.
this. When you're
Right.
rubbing on someone, it's awful. Like who wants stubble like all over them, like a little red rash?
Well, as far as the hairy chest, it takes a real man to keep it worn off.
Oh,
Oh my God, who said
David.
that? That's hilarious.
In the summer, I normally do trim my chest hair, trim it all off basically with the
Oh
clippers.
no!
Yeah, I do, yes. But then in the winter, I grow it back. Except if I'm dating a girl who requests, she's like, "Don't shave your chest hair,"
Don't
'cause
shave
I
the
like it.
chest.
Then I won't. But no, I shave it off in summer. It's a bit of a different look. It's like getting a haircut.
No, no, no,
So
no, not sexy. Icky, icky, icky.
Yeah, you have to keep. Yeah, the chest hair has to stay. It's natural. Oh my God, it turns. I would say it turns more women on than
Okay.
off. But the
well, the
stubble,
good,
the stubble is an issue though. It's like a real.
yeah,
It's a texture.
it's true when it's
Yes, you
growing
hear
back.
that, Hitch? Stay who you are, Chewbacca.
Well, the good thing about being the good the good thing about I should do the Chewbacca impression. The good thing about being Italian is the hair grows back very, very fast.
Hitch, that
Um,
was a terrible Chewbacca
can,
impression.
can you do
It's
it?
more like.
Do your version. Let's go with the Chewbacca impression. Um, I can grow a beard very, very quickly, and I started working somewhere. Well, it was a school. I started working at a school when I was like probably 20, and I remember this creepy Asian teacher. She obviously she was a woman. I'm gonna speculate this. She was probably like maybe 35, 39, and I was 20. And then I remember she cornered me right next to the sink, and then she said, "Didn't you just shave off your beard last week?" I said, "Yeah." And then she said, "I've noticed that your hair grows back really fast." I said, "Yeah, it does. I grow a beard like very quickly." And then she goes, "It hasn't gone unnoticed." And it was just like staring at me. I was
She
like,
was
"Oh my God."
simping.
Yeah, she was like fucking creeping on me. Now,
Simping.
yeah, she was creeping on. She loved my hairy beard that it grew back. Like probably grew back in about 3.5 weeks. It was getting like in pretty good growth. So and it grows back like really thick. So yes, the good thing about being Italian, if you shave it off, it grows back very fast. Gretchen, we're also talking about the pink tax. Have you heard of this before, the pink tax? And what do you think is the cause of it?
No, I haven't heard of it. Can you briefly give me
Yeah,
just a brief
100%.
rundown?
So basically, men's and women's products that are similar. So it can be men's and women's razors or men's and women's shampoo, whatever. The women's product will often cost between 30 to 50% more. Now, some people say it's just companies overcharging. I'm of the opinion, well, the product is different. Like the men's razor, it's just a metal thing with a little bit of rubber for grip, very straightforward. It doesn't have any fins. It's just 3 or 4 blades, whatever. The woman's razor has 2 lubricating strips, 5 fins. It's made from a translucent, opaque material with stars and rainbows and all this stuff in it. So it's not the same product. The product is harder to manufacture. So the pink tax is this idea that women pay more for almost the same product. Companies know women will pay more, so they just inflate the prices. What do you think? Do you have any thoughts on this? Do you think companies are just gouging women?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. Because we go out and we buy more products, but it seems to me, just personal experience, that when I go out and buy my things that I need, because I look at the guy's stuff too, because I did have a husband once upon a time, and yeah, I do believe women's personal hygiene products are more expensive than men's in general. And I've never really thought about it that much, but I have noticed throughout the years, when I would go shopping for both of us. Yeah, there's definitely a difference. I definitely think there's a little bit of gouging going on, because women will pay the price for beauty. Like, whatever we need, whatever that product is that we're going out to buy, I will go pick it up and buy it, regardless if it's gone up $10. If it's something that I use and I think it's worth it and it works for me, I'm going to pay that price. So, and I think companies pick up on that. They know that.
Yeah, what was that campaign? Was it L'Oreal, because you're worth it and you deserve it? And yeah, women.
Exactly.
Yep, yep, spot on. Now I don't know. Again, I haven't. It's something I want to research further. Whether it's inflation, actually just inflating the prices or different products or whatever. But certainly, it's very very interesting. Last one from me, Gretchen. Of course, jump in on anything else that you want to add. Believe only half of what you see and nothing that you hear. Edgar Allan Poe. Have you heard this before? And also, do you have any favorite quotes or expressions that jump out to you?
Well, being on social media as much as I am, because the veteran nonprofit is social media driven, I don't really trust a lot out there. What's people say. I've had so many people message me with lies and scams, and wanting to partner, or but you know in the end, it's generally, what can you do for me? I'm out there, helping a veteran, and they're like, how can I get her to grow my business, sell my product, sell my book? There's always an agenda. So I think Jane's the one who said trust but verify. I think there's a lot of truth in that, and I've learned that over the years, being on social media as much as I have. And Hitch, I have a great story that I think the listeners will love. It's my first date story after my divorce.
Yeah, please. We'd love to hear it.
Okay, so it's been a hell of a year. I went through a very tough divorce, moved away to a very isolated rural town in North Carolina, in Yancey County, 1,600 population to be exact, to heal and to move beyond and try to start a new chapter. So it began getting lonely, though. So I was like, what am I going to do about this in a population of 1,600 people, right? I'm middle aged. I go to the gym. I'm in great shape. Where am I going to find somebody who's compatible, that I am interested in? So I was grocery shopping, and a man approached me as I was walking out the door, and I knew he was going to, because I could tell that he was eyeballing me throughout the entire time I was shopping. So as I was coming out, lo and behold, he walks up to me, shares his name, asked me if I'm married. And I looked at him. I said, okay. I said, you know what, Tony? You've got some balls. So I'm going to go out with you. Yes. Let's go out to dinner tonight. I was like, okay. He's the only man in that town that had stepped up and asked me out. I knew nothing about him, nothing. So we met at the parking lot 3 hours later at the grocery store. And there was a problem with his truck tire, and he's like, "Hey, Gretchen, do you mind if we take your car?" And he was showing me his tire, and I was like, "Oh God!" I was like, "Okay, okay, not a big deal." He's like, "Do you mind if I drive your car?" And I was really surprised by that question. I just like, I don't know, I don't know if that's a good idea or not. But I said, "Well, okay." you know so we're on the road. He has no idea where he's going, because he stops and turns around like 10, 15 times in a very unsafe way. And I'm thinking, oh my Lord, was this a good idea? And so as we're driving and he's trying to figure out where we're going, he's telling me that he has a very thick criminal record, like a very strong, long criminal history. Domestic violences, probation violations, dirty urines, DUIs. And I'm sitting there like looking at him like, oh my God, and he's driving my car. So we get to the restaurant finally after over an hour of driving. And I'm just like, thank God we made it. And I'm being super nice. And we sit down and we order our food. And he says, I feel like I need to be transparent with you. And I looked at him, I said, I think you've been transparent enough. So he's like, well, he said, Gretchen, I don't have any teeth. And I was looking at him because I saw his teeth, and he said, these are dentures. And he said, I just got them. And he said, they don't fit very well. So if you hear clicking and shifting and they fall out, he said, I'm afraid they'll fall out while I'm eating. And I was sitting there looking at him, trying not to allow my mouth to drop open. And I was looking around the restaurant looking for cameras. Like, am I being punked? Like this can't be my first date. This can't be.
This
Like,
sounds like something out of a comedy film, honestly. Oh my God.
oh my God, I know. So here I am, sitting there eating and drinking my wine. I'm like, can I have another glass of wine, please?
I'm choking on my cookies here, Gretchen. I literally choked on my cookies, my eyes jumping out of my head. Jesus Christ.
I know. So we make it through the meal. His teeth did fall out. They did shift. They did click. So I'm glad he was transparent about that. So it was not a shock when it happened. Or I was like, am I sitting here with a horse? And I hate to make fun, but it's really, it was my fault for not looking him over better when he asked me out on a date. I should have like whipped out a little questionnaire and asked them a few basic questions. But hey, I've been out of the market forever, for a long time. So I had no idea what to expect. I didn't really have high expectations. I just thought, you know what, this guy's got balls, so let's roll. Let's go.
No, you got the balls, not to him. You got the balls, girl. Jesus Christ, I would jump out of the car in the middle of the way. I tell you, I would say, nope, I'm not doing it. Bye.
Gretchen, I'm guessing there was no second date.
No, there was no second date. So on the way back home, he's looking at me and he's like, "You haven't told me anything about yourself." And I said, "Well, I've learned a lot about you." He said, "Well, can you tell me something?" I looked at him. I said, "Well," I said, "I have 4 degrees. I've raised about $8 million and assisted over 8,000 veterans across the country. I'm on pause right now with that because I'm, going through my divorce. But yeah, so that's basically who I am." He looked at me. He's like, 4 degrees, huh? and
Oh
and I'm
my
sitting
God, it gets better.
and I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, this man probably doesn't even have a GED. I don't think he graduated from high school.
When he said, "Tell me about yourself," you could have said, "Well, something about me. I'll never accept a date from a guy in a supermarket ever again." That's one thing you can know about.
He ruined it for all the men in the supermarkets. Never,
Oh my
never
God.
again. Oh my God. It was the worst date ever. It was the date from hell. But it was hilarious. Like, now I have a great story. I look back and I'm like, oh my God, at least I made it out alive. He didn't try to harm me, and I did give him a side hug when we got out of the car. I gave him a side hug and I was like, thank you, Tony. That was really nice of you to take me to dinner. And that's what I said. And I said, make sure you text me when you get home
You
because
gave him a hug.
your tire is fucked up. I said, make sure, I want to know you get home okay. And so he did. That's all he did. He's texted and said, hey, I made it home. I was like, good. All right. And then the next day he texted me again and I just blocked it. I was like, that's it. I'm done.
Gretchen, we got Tommy in the listeners. He's just about to join the stage. Tommy, welcome to the stage. You're here with Gretchen. No, I'm joking. Can you imagine how funny would that be?
Oh my Lord, that would be hilarious.
I know. I was doing that. Graham Norton does this thing where he pretends to bring out people, like famous people, to the other famous people know or admire or something like that to make it awkward. But Gretchen, we are very, very happy that you got out of that unscathed. The guy was driving your car. He's an ex-convict. He was whatever on drugs or has been on drugs in the past. Well, I think you're very, very lucky, right? How do you feel?
I feel very fortunate because in the moment, I just was sitting there trying not to allow my mouth to drop open because I could not believe he was sharing all of that with me. Like, who does that? Who thinks that's a good idea? Maybe he thought transparency is the way to go here because not to toot my own horn, but I think I was out of his league. I think most women would be, honestly. I don't, I couldn't believe I'd gotten myself in that position or that situation. As I'm too old for that. I'm smart. I've got common
Well,
sense.
if you find the right
That
man, you
was
won't
not
have to.
smart.
If you find the right man, you won't have to toot your own horn anymore.
Well, well, that's a whole other story.
But I will say, the next time you don't want a second date, I'd suggest not listing out your qualities. I'd just tell them you're a lesbian and move on.
We're very, very. I mean, yes, that will definitely scare guys away mostly. We're glad that you're okay, Gretchen, and it could maybe you just had the. I've noticed people in the country, their demeanor is just very direct, very straightforward. Like they don't. The people in the city are more like careful, and maybe I shouldn't say this, maybe I shouldn't say that. Whereas people in the country tend to be a little bit more direct. So I don't know if it's technically the country, but it could be that maybe.
I think so. You know, he's the only man that has asked me out. So I gave him credit for that. I was like, okay, you know, why not? So, but there you go. I learned a lesson.
Do you have a strategy now? Are you going to go to certain places where you think maybe you could meet people more like you?
You know, I don't know. I think it's just because I've been so out of, you know, that time in my life is over. That I feel like that ship has sailed. Like dating to me is not appealing at all. Of course I want a companion. I mean most of us do. I mean, you know, we're built to have, you know, someone. But although there are lone wolves out there, I do get that. But I'm not one of those. But you know, I don't know. I was on match.com for a day. I put my all my real picture, it's me, you know, even like posted a little interview of me talking. Um and it was horrible. It was a horrible experience. The DMs were just loaded with just people that were completely not compatible. They look like basement dwellers. Um, and I will be nice and not say anything else, but it was not for me. It was not my cup of tea. So I deleted the profile and I deleted the app, and that was it. One day was enough. I was like, yeah, that's not my thing. So I don't know. You know, I'm now I'm out of the state of North Carolina in a much bigger population. So maybe my chances will be a little bit better versus
It,
living in a town of 1,600.
if there's any suitors in the listeners, come up on stage or you know, tag Gretchen. Beautiful young lady, very intelligent, 4 degrees, got it all. Tom, is it Tom? Whatever the guy. Tom, if you're listening, sorry, bro. No, you've had your chance. It did not go well.
He blew it.
You
He
blew it.
said way too much on the first day.
It sounds
He
like it.
overshared, which I'm kind of glad he did.
Yes, yes. One of the
And
times it was good
Gretchen is
to
so
know.
beautiful. She's so sweet and so beautiful and so well intended. I wish you so much luck, and that things work out and you find your prince charming. I vibrate positively for you that you find your prince charming. I've been observing you talking, and you're a great human.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very sweet. And I love oh my gosh, your accent is absolutely gorgeous. I could listen to you talk all day.
Co-sign everything that Maritia said as well. Gretchen, thanks for joining, my dear. Really appreciate it. Lovely to have you. That is a cracking story, as we would say in Australia. And we are just glad you're okay. But if you have any final words on any other topics, we'd love to hear it. And I want to remind people, go to your profile, link in bio. You've got the good charity that you set up, etc. People can go and support and check that out. But if you've got anything else you want to share, we'd love to hear it. Please go ahead. Any final words, and then we will continue on.
No, I'm just going to be listening, and I've enjoyed my time on here. Thank you for allowing me to share my journey, you know, my first date, because it was a big deal to me. Even though it was a big failure, it was quite the experience. And go find at Code of Vets, please, if you're listening, and follow, support. We help veterans from all walks of lives. Honestly, it's just we have a group of veterans that are waiting in the wings, waiting to be assisted. I assist one veteran at a time. Again, it's been about 8,000, a little over 8,000 veterans that I've helped so far. So that seems to be working. So go support the mission. They're beautiful souls, and the needs are real. Thank you. Thanks, Hitch.
Thank you, Gretchen. Appreciate it. Stick around as long as you won't jump in any time. Otherwise, we are just slowly winding down. I want to go to Katie. I'll say hi to Brock, and then we'll give famous final words after the co-host. Katie, are you there?
I am here. I don't know why I took such a moment of pause. I am here. And also, Gretchen, thank you for your service, for all that you do for the veterans.
Thank you.
Let's go. Happy to have
Let's go.
space. Let's go. Katie, we're talking to pink tax. Is it real? Are we even just complaining, or are they actually getting charged more for the same product?
Pink tax is known as a different thing around the world.
Well, do tell. What's the other pink?
No, I don't even know. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Let me explain it.
No, I know what you're saying is pink tax, but I'm saying that pink tax is known as something else.
What is it known as?
I don't know. I'm not saying.
Well,
Now I've got to
obviously
say.
something to do with Lady Pass, but what about them exactly?
It's naughty.
Is this like you got to pay money to get, you know?
No, there's not prostitution.
Well, just tell me. We're all adults here. Just what is it?
No, it's, I'm not an adult. What are you talking about? Don't age me.
All right, tell me in the DMs. Can someone tell me in the DMs if you know what Katie's on about? Because I don't know.
Yeah, it's the pink tax.
I mean, saying you know, you're going to give it away,
but you don't know.
Is this like you have to spend money on a woman, otherwise she won't sleep with you? Is that what you mean?
No. I'll DM it to you.
Hold on, David, do you know what she's talking about?
I think I do. I think she's saying, well, what's a euphemism for a kitty tax?
I just said that, didn't I? You have to spend money on a woman or she won't let you sleep with her.
No, don't throw the ball out of the window. No.
David, isn't that what I just said? You have to, pay. You have to take a woman on a date, spend money, otherwise she won't sleep with you. Isn't that what I said?
That's it.
Well, I was right. Katie said I was not right.
No, not okay. No, have you heard of?
My God, woman.
No, like what? Like what rhymes with pink?
Stink. All right, Katie, you're I'm not like you as it is, and I'm losing brain cells, so I need to move on because I don't know what.
Okay, we move on.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're gonna need to.
No, I think I've lost the brain cells also. My son's been on school summer holidays for the last month, and I can't cope.
Okay, pink tax, is it real? What do you think?
Yes, it's real, and I think it's terrible. I just washed my hair with my dog shampoo. I'm not even lying. No, for real life, because I ran out of my shampoo and I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? And my dog shampoo was in the bathroom because I like to, my dog is very well taken care of. And it's a beautiful shampoo that I spend like $15, $16 on, more than what I spend on my own shampoo, $3, $4.
Sometimes there's animal products, the food or whatever, it looks better than the stuff you get for humans.
Right. So I just washed my hair with my dog shampoo.
Now, how is your hair looking, and have you started barking recently?
Oh, woof woof.
So no more fleas.
Exactly. No. It wasn't an anti-flea shampoo. It was it's actually really nice. It smells like bubble gum, which is amazing. Thankfully, I had my conditioner available still, but shampoo, like a razor's a razor. Soap is soap.
Have you used the men's razor, Katie?
I only buy men's razors.
Let's go. Why is that?
Yes.
Cheaper.
No, I think they work better. Yeah, I think that this whole voluminous design, marketing campaign to make women buy these shapely razors, they're terrible. Only from my personal experience, they might work on other people, but I'm like, well, how? Like, no, it just doesn't work. I also like no, that's going to sound way wrong. I've got what is it, Gillette or Wilkinson sword, and you push the button and it goes zzz, but no, don't even go there.
Yeah, the vibrating razors, they're fucking bullshit. I had one as well. That's a gimmick.
I like it because
I reckon it makes it harder.
My legs get a nice massage, but yes, I don't put the vibration on when I go around my ankles.
Well, always be careful around your ankles. Okay. It's true.
Yeah, but also at the same point, I know this is going to sound really gross. Like, I mean, I'm not a very hairy person, so I don't have to shave my legs often, or my armpits or anything, because I'm really not very hairy. When I say not very hairy, like I'm really. You threw the ball out of the window. Oh my god. Anyway, not very hairy. But yes, I don't believe in this curvature of the aperture of the whatever it is. And I don't think that they last as long either as the men's razors. I love a man's razor. I love a man's deodorant. I think they work better as well.
You heard it here first. Katie's not very hairy and she prefers the male product. So if there are people who are interested in a non-hairy woman who likes men's products,
that would be me, and is happy to wash her hair with dog shampoo. Wow, I sound a real catch, Hitch.
Except Tom. Tom, if you're listening, she's not interested. I can already tell you. Don't bother messaging.
I don't know who Tom is.
Take mine and Gretchen's word for it. You don't want to have anything to do with Tom. He's
okay.
a bum. Now, we've also been talking about Edgar Allan Poe.
I love Edgar Allan.
Yes, we got some background noise, Katie. So I don't know if you turn on voice isolation. Otherwise, whoever's in the background say, shut up. We're trying to talk.
Hudson, I'm going downstairs. There, that's it there.
Oh, is that your son? Sorry, I didn't mean to tell your son.
No, it's his. No, you can say shut up because it's YouTube.
I thought you were outside, like at a, I don't know, cafe or something. My apologies.
No, no, don't apologise. You're absolutely right.
I would never.
Hitch Slap says YouTube is for babies.
Oh my god. Edgar Allan Poe, believe only half what you see and nothing that you hear. Do you have any thoughts on his saying?
Oh my god, I love Edgar Allan Poe. I used to have pictures of him up in my old apartment in the Ravenswood building in Hollywood. Oh, just believe nothing and have faith and hope that it is something.
Do you have a expression, Katie, a favourite quote that you like?
I do. Arugula. Arugula. There is a method to my madness and a madness to my method. Do you know who said that?
Who?
Salvador Dalí.
I like it.
I like it a lot. I love that because when people, and this is true, you know, sometimes when I will do something in the creative industries, but kind of from like an out of the box way where people will be like, well, hold a minute, what's that got to do with that? And, you know, I don't understand. And I'll always say there's a method to my madness and a madness to my method. And so it's basically saying, even though you don't quite understand it, just trust me because I know what I'm doing. And I just love it. I love Salvador Dalí.
I've seen his exhibition.
Really?
Yeah. When I was in London, he's very, very talented. Can't confirm.
Oh yeah. Oh, he was just brilliant. When I studied him for my GCSEs, which was when I was like 16, which was a long time ago because I'm now 40. Oh my god. I've still got his art books. But he was brilliant, and his single line pencil sketch drawings also were phenomenal. I just love the surrealism movement, and he was just very avant-garde and quirky.
Speaking of
like Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah.
Speaking of order, I've got one more for you, Katie, and I'll throw you for final words. I've been asking people, who do you think is more neat, men or women? Every time I, living with my girlfriend, she would cook fucking tomato pasta sauce, water everywhere, clothes everywhere, wardrobe's a mess. Who do you think's more neat, in your opinion, on average, men or women?
Well, on average, I don't know, because I'm trying to think. I can only but speak for myself. I'm neat, but going back to the public restroom, if I'm out with my son, this is quite controversial actually, but it is an interesting question. But if we were like an open outdoor theatre and there's like porta potties or whatever, I would 100% use the men's. I won't use the women's. The women's, there's like piss everywhere. It just stinks. It's so gross. And it's because women don't want to sit on the seat, so they hover. And when they like try and see, this is why women should learn to do their squats. because they'll try and squat and hover over the seat so their tush doesn't touch it, but it fails. And then the wee goes everywhere. So I go, men, they're both terrible. Men, because they've got less stuff to like clean up. But also women are like, I'm quite like the Mediterranean, like with the pasta, with the sauce, so there is whatever, that is passion with cooking.
How come my mum does it? My mum is very, very neat. She doesn't fucking sauce everywhere, oil it. My mum is very clean. Every woman around my age, sauce everywhere, oil everywhere. Listen, I don't
Because we're
want to.
learning.
I don't want to say
We're
why I like
learning.
my mum because I won't appreciate it. But listen,
No,
my
you
mum can
ask
do
your
it.
mamma.
My
Say, mamma, when you were pecorino, tutto bene. When you were itty bitty, then you ask. Sorry, I wish I was
she's always
Italian.
been neat. My mum has always been neat since I was very young. My mum had the first kid when she was 16, so she's
Really?
yeah. I don't.
Oh, is she a nonna?
Well, I would say too much because of doxing, but yes,
Oh,
she's
yeah, sorry.
always been neat. But Katie, we are winding down. If you got any final words, my dear, we'd love to hear it. Otherwise, follow Katie notifications on Absolute Legend. We love
And well, thank you. I can't believe I have stated in real life on a live space I use my dog's shampoo to wash my hair. But that is fact check true. I did. Needs must. But it all does the same thing at the end of the day. Also, I'm very proud of my bum. I like my bum a lot, my tushy. It's squeezable, if I do say so myself. It's got that like let me just squeeze it. And it's not because it's perfect. It's because it's my bum, and I like my bum a lot. And then so there, I'm not very hairy. I appreciate your spaces always. I use a men's razor. I don't paint my toenails often just because I'm quite of a beach babe. So I'd rather just not paint my toenails. Why is toenail polish or polish in general so expensive? I think that's ridiculous. I use men's products more than I use women's. I think maybe that's because half I'm lonely and I miss the smell of a man, but also maybe like I think they work better for women. And yeah, I pat myself on the back and the bum for being so open and honest in a live space. Love you, Hitch.
Love you, Katie. Follow Katie notifications on. You heard it here first. Not very hairy, likes to squeeze her own bum, and washes her hair with dog shampoo. So
only when needs be.
only when needs be. Follow Katie for more grooming tips. Let's go. This is what I want to do. I want to say hi to Brock. We'll give famous final words, and then I'll go to my co-host. Then we're going to go to subscriber space. I'm going to take a little break, and then we will off to the subscriber space. Let's see if we have Brock. Brock, are you there?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what a stink tax is. The last speaker seemed to like her own bum. I'm still kind of wondering what that is.
Ha ha.
Stink tax. Well, I know what a pink tax is, but a stink tax. It would be funny if they charge you tax for farting. Reminds me of the movie Demolition Man. They used to charge money every time you swear, and they didn't give him any toilet paper, so he'd go to the like little box and he'd swear into it, and then he'd use the swear tickets to like wipe his bottom. You must be a fan of Demolition Man, right, bro?
If there was a swear tax, I'd be fucked. I might swear the most of anyone in spaces.
Do you think you swear more than me?
Yes. You don't swear that much, do you, Hitch?
Well, I think I do compared to a lot of people, but maybe not more than.
Well, you have more volume of words on spaces. Like you're in spaces more, so
Yes.
accumulative, maybe you're up there, you know?
Well, in a previous space, I said to someone, you'd been fucking with me for a long time, and then they took umbrage and do you really have to use that language? And I'm just like messing around, fooling around, trifling, whatever word you want. So I do be swearing. It's part of our, national culture. Australians swear all the time. So
Australians are the worst. That is true. Like saying the word cunt or is that a UK thing or both? That's like
It's
just another
both.
word. We're in the West. That's like the worst word ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's context dependent. You can tell if someone means it in a friendly way or a rude way, both in Australia and the UK for sure. Very context dependent. Whereas you guys, I forget the word, but there's a word you guys use all the time. Not like son of a bitch, but it's like one of them. In the American movies, at least, I say it all the time. Whereas in Australia, it's more rare. It's more of a like harsh word. Can't remember. Yeah, not sure. Have you seen Kindergarten Cop, Brock? We'll talk about that.
Yeah, that's like one of the best movies ever.
I was earlier on shouting out Arnie and the Kindergarten Cop and the reference, and no one gave a fuck. And
What was the reference you used?
I know because I said we were talking about male and female anatomy, and I said I always knew when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I always knew when I was a kid that boys have a penis and girls have a vagina. I said I learned from Kindergarten Cop.
The kid who said that looked like people mistake him for me. As a kid, that kid who said that looked identical to me. It was wild. And I would say that in kindergarten. So
I mean, if you've got any, you don't have to, of course, but you got any pictures of you as a kid, I'd love to see them if you really did.
yeah, I
Look like
posted them
that.
before. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's like the guy who's like, wait a minute, who are you? Like that looks like the kindergarten cop kid, right?
Yeah.
I was that kid too. I'll
Yeah.
I'll find the picture.
Yeah.
Like the bowl cut and everything, you know?
You should do a side by side. That could be a good post. But like Kindergarten Cop is an epic film, can confirm. What are your top 3 movies, Brock, if you had to pick 3 off the top of your head?
Oh man. Probably like either Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore. It's kind of the same movie. Maybe I'd throw in like The Matrix. And then what's another retarded funny movie? I think Half Baked was great when Chappelle was great. And I don't really even smoke weed like that. But
Have you seen a very underrated film, Don't Mess with the Zohan?
I think I've seen it once. I kind of forget it though.
It's an Adam Sandler film. He plays some kind of military guy, and then he escapes to America and he cuts hair, and but he ends up cutting the hair of all these like older women, and then after he cuts their hair, he makes love to them. So he ends up with like there's a line of like 200 old women lining up, and they only want to get their hair cut from him. Like I said, it's an Adam Sandler film. Very underrated Adam Sandler films. Very, very funny.
I feel like Sandler, like his older movies are great, and then like that whole Happy Madison thing, they got kind of cheeks. Same with Chappelle. I think Chappelle got worse. That's just my opinion. But Sandler's still great, but I think the quality kind of dropped.
Yeah, I agree. The more recent
Right?
stuff, yeah, and you can't beat the Chappelle Show with Clayton Bigsby.
The best skit ever.
For people who don't know, David Chappelle, obviously a Black American, he plays a child that was adopted into an orphanage. Everybody in the orphanage was blind, and everybody was white, but he was black. So they just told him that he was white. So he grew up like hating black people. So he's a black white supremacist, Dave Chappelle. And then he ends up becoming the leader of a like white supremacist organization, but he's black. And then there's this one funny set. By the way, don't get mad at me. Take it up with Dave Chappelle if you got an issue. But the leader of the KKK, who's Dave Chappelle, who's a black guy, because he's blind, he pulls up and he hears some white hillbillies, and they're like, "You better get out of here, boy. We don't want your kind around here, boy." And then Dave Chappelle starts screaming, "Yeah, get out of here, N-word. We don't want your N-word around here." And then the white, like, racists, they think that he's crazy, and they just kind of back away slowly. But I won't repeat the ending because I would have to say whatever. But the ending, he breaks up with his wife, and it's funny to find out why. But yeah, absolutely hilarious sketch.
So
Yeah,
I put in the Jumbotron. Does that remind you of the Kindergarten Cop kid?
Let me have a look. It'll take a little while to propagate.
Oh, it's still not. I thought the fixer was
About 10
was
seconds.
faster.
Yes,
Damn.
it does. Yeah,
Right?
bro.
Or the wait a minute, who
Yeah.
are you, kid?
Hold on a second. Yes. Is that you? Oh my god. That does
Yeah,
look
man.
exactly like him. That's so
I
funny.
should do like a face swap of that. For sure.
That is fucking hilarious, I'm telling you. That is so funny. Now, bro.
How long you been out of space? You actually sound tired. I
Yeah,
don't think I've ever.
yeah, I've been up since 6 a.m. I had to go meet my sister, help her out with a few things. Then I did I mowed part of my lawn. I normally have a nap for the space, but I didn't get a nap in. That's why this one's getting a little bit shorter. But I got a couple of brief ones for you, Brock, and then of course I'll throw it to you if you want to add anything. Do you know about the pink tax? Are you familiar with it?
I'd never really heard of it before, to be honest. No.
Basically, women's razors cost $15, men's razors cost $10. And this is true for a lot of women's products. Women's shampoo, $12, men's shampoo, $8, blah, 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 blah. So it's in a jumbotron. This is the pink tax. Now,
is this a supply and demand thing?
Well, women claim it's discrimination. They're just getting charged more because, the companies are gouging the women because, women are oppressed. Whereas other people claim that it's a different product. Like the men's razor is just metal. It's got a little bit of rubber and then it's got 3 blades. Whereas the women's one, it's shaped like it's got an hourglass figure. It's got double handle grips. It's got, fins to catch the hair. It's a different product. So
wouldn't somebody, if it did cost more, couldn't someone easily undercut the market if like the true markup, you know what I mean? If there's more profit, someone would undercut it. That just makes logical sense, doesn't it?
It does. You're hitting on a very cogent point to do with basic economics. So this is kind of what I think as well, to some degree. The counter argument is
the companies are big enough where they're in like cahoots or something. Hey, if we all keep it up, we all profit. Or something like that.
But also 100%. But also, chicken costs $10 a kilo, but if you put a marinade barbecue sauce on it, you can now charge $15 a kilo. So the companies are putting a little bit of bells and whistles, and then they're charging way more than they need to. However, the counter argument is, well, women are paying for it. If women stop buying the bells and whistles products, the companies will stop making them. So it's probably a combination of two. The companies are gouging a little bit, but women are also, was a L'Oreal ad? Because you're worth it, you deserve more, blah, blah, blah.
So you're essentially calling the pink tax a convenience tax with this argument.
Well, I'm saying that some people claim that it's just the arbitrary tax on women. Whereas I'm saying they're doing what the butchers do. The butchers put a little bit of barbecue.
Yeah, so convenience tax. It's not to do with gender. It's just it's more convenient for them. You know what I mean?
How do you mean convenient?
Well, you're saying the work's being done for you, so it's convenient, right? Like if you're adding the barbecue sauce, oh, good, cool, you did it for me. I'll pay more for that.
Yes, but using the razor, correct? But using the razor analogy, it's what they're doing with the razors is not making them any more convenient, but it is making them look better and feel better. So they look better. They're pink. They're like, one of them was like translucent or opaque or whatever you want to say. So it looks better. It's prettier. So women will pay more for the prettier product, even though to make it look pretty, the companies are charging more than they need to. But women are paying for it. So it's like both. I think both parties are to blame.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's like kind of like Apple marketing with their all white bullshit and aesthetic, right? They charge more.
Yeah, and if nobody paid for it, they wouldn't charge more for it. So it's not like they're just charging more for the same product. It's a different product. But also, they're probably inflating it more than they need to because they know women want to feel special and they want to use a pretty product. So, yeah, that's the pink tax. Some people say it's pure discrimination. I think it's a little bit of both. I don't think they're discriminating, but they're charging more than they need to. Now, Brock, you're all over the market economy. Do you have a background in marketing or economics?
More marketing probably than economics.
the ease with which you picked up the undercutting, very fast, you're all over it. Very, very impressive.
Well, I mean, we've gone over before. I believe I'm partially autistic, so I pick up on those type of things as well. I mean, it's just common sense, though, right? Like, even if there was a pink tax, there's an opportunity to undercut it. Then, so why isn't there, right? That's just the market dictates. No.
Correct. At what age did you realize the gender pay gap was bullshit?
When did I realize it was bullshit? I don't know if there's a realization moment other than it just always was,
Well, I mean, for a while, we even had ministers in Parliament in Australia saying gender pay gap discrimination, I'm going to do something about it. But, for anyone who's not picking up what I'm putting down, the gender pay gap's about 35% with no controls. But if you control for 3 factors, total hours worked, total hours taken off, in terms of any kind of taken off, just sick leave, any kind of leave, plus having a baby. If you control for these, and also the kind of job that you're in, right? Selling clothes retail does not pay as much as engineering. So if you control for those 4 factors, you close the gender pay gap from 30% to like 29% or 28%, something like that. So for a while, everybody was banging on about the gender pay gap. Women are paid less for the same work. So, Brock, was there not a time when everybody was like, talking about it and you kind of believed it?
No. No.
Brock was like, Parliament and all the feminist teachers, and Brock's like, you guys are
I mean, I'm Canadian, so my whole life I've heard a lot of bullshit, and I don't really believe it, right? So this is normal for me, where I hear stuff and it's like, yeah, whatever, I think for myself.
It's good to have a skeptical mind.
I mean, if you're in Australia, it's the same thing for you, right?
Yes, they do be bullshitting in Australia and New Zealand, especially in New Zealand. The stuff that they get told and they believe, oh my God. I remember the New Zealand Prime Minister, she used to get handled with kid gloves by the media because she was a woman, in my opinion. And one of the guys said to her, where can people research about COVID? And she said, we don't want people to research about COVID. We will put out media reports, and that's all the information you need. And then the guy's like, what about if people want more information? And she's like, we are the information. And it's like, do you realize what you fucking sound like?
Sounds just like Canada, dude.
Yeah, bro. Exactly. That's there's a lot of overlap. Whereas at least in Australia, people will be the politicians will make some effort to pretend. They'll be like, we have experts who've done thorough peer reviewed and we believe that what we put out is the best. Whereas in New Zealand, it's just like, no, don't ask questions. Just we're going to tell you what to think.
I mean, I don't want to get into all that, but like, we were some of the only countries where we couldn't leave during COVID as well, right?
Yeah, true. We were in camps. They were putting us in camps in the States. Yep, literal camps. If you had COVID, they come and take you, put you to the camp, and then you're allowed to leave the cabin like 2 hours a day to go for a walk. There was like this yellow line. If you cross the yellow line, then you get a fine. And then they had like a little jail inside the camp. It was fucking wild.
But even flying out, like you couldn't fly out of the country.
Yeah. You couldn't even leave the suburb.
Same as Canada. Like the whole thing with Novak, that whole bullshit. Remember that when he went to the Australian Open?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he showed up, and he was there, and a healthy Novak could not stand in an empty space 60 feet from another player and play tennis. It was just ridiculous.
Well, they cleared him to play, I think, right? And then they let him in the country, and then as soon as he landed, they basically detained him or something, where it's like, oh, you didn't get the vaccine, and didn't let him play. And then he came back the next year and won.
And all of this was an anti-science thing, right? Because when people say trust the science or we believe in science, I would respond, it's not a belief system. It's actually a method. It's called the scientific method. And this is exactly what they didn't want you to practice. What is the bedrock of both the rational and scientific method? Skepticism. And they didn't allow for that. They didn't allow for skeptical inquiry. And then this is what you were referring to, Hitch Slap, when they were saying, like you're saying, the New Zealanders, no, just trust us. Well, of course, that's not how it works. Fauci did the same thing. He said, I am the science. No, you're not. No, you're not. And anybody who says that or talks this way, they are anti-science. So the whole thing was an authoritarian movement that had very little to do with science.
Shout out Brett Weinstein and Robert Malone and all the other people who spoke out against the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, that is. When I realized it was bullshit was when they were forcing people who'd already caught the virus to also get the vaccine. Like, as far as I'm
Right.
aware, there's not a single exception. If I'm wrong, tell me. Maybe there's one exception or two, whatever. But it's known in virology, the best immunity is always getting the virus and recovering from it. Now, of course, if you are, a sick baby or you're an old man, then that's not recommended. But for people who already caught it accidentally and were already, immunized, if you want to use that word, there was no reason they should get the vaccine. Zero reason. They had prior immunity from having caught it and they were not allowed to work, even though they had antibodies. The Israel study and many other studies proved the people who had caught it, 16 times less chance to catch it again. They weren't going to transmit it, blah, blah, blah. Making people get it was all about big pharma and political bullshit and lockstep, and it was fucking ridiculous.
That's how
When
I closed my gym. I had my gym for over 10 years and I lost all my business during the pandemics, okay? Like over 1 million because I didn't vaccinate and I didn't want to put my 2 other trainers to vaccinate and I needed to close the government, close my business.
Yeah, that was wild. Go ahead, Dave.
And also the idea that you had to get the people that got vaccinated weren't safe unless you got vaccinated. Well, what, pray tell, is the point? Or your mask doesn't work until someone else puts a mask. All of this was irrational on the face of it. And you can't imagine what it was like to have lived through COVID with a research scientist, cancer research, specializing in immunotherapies. So she understood all of this. Neither of us got vaccinated. I and her got COVID once, lasted for 3 days, and then we were done. And then what did my doctor say when I went to see him afterwards? You should get vaccinated. And he just wilted like a flower when I had the discussion with him. Excuse me. The durability of my natural immunity is certainly better than that of your vaccine, and there are no side effects to my natural immunity.
Well,
And
I was
he
2 weeks.
hold
I
on one
almost
second,
passed.
not done yet, not done yet. And when I had this discussion with him, I said, look, you have a good temperament for reasoning. I call my doctors by their first name. I never call them doctor. I said, be seditious where the facts are concerned. Don't care about politics. Don't care about ideology. Use your own mind, and I promise you it'll lead you to the right place. And it was like I just coached him back to reality. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, good point. Yeah. Like I'm not going to get vaccinated 3 weeks after I had COVID.
All the stuff I learned from Robert Malone, Brett Weinstein, and a few of these high-level researchers. And I was all over it when my friends started talking. Well, you have to do it because of this, this, and this. I already knew about the studies that are coming out and pro-immunity and blah blah blah. The whole COVID thing was a fire.
My favorite thing about the COVID thing was seeing an individual outside in the summer on the street with a mask on. I mean, they look like an escapee from a S&M session and they forgot the safe word.
I
I'm like,
like the solo car drivers myself.
yeah, why are you? Yeah, you're okay. I made a joke once. I said I saw a young man on the street alone with a mask, and it terrified me until I realized he was going to go rob a bank. I'm like, oh, good. The world is sane again. Thank God.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I
Brock,
didn't take the vaccine. I didn't take it. Even if I would die, I would not take it. And I almost died, but my body
Well, I mean,
developed
you
the
can't
immune
really take it
system.
after you. You can't really take it after you die.
Yeah,
I mean, I
they
don't
wanted
think
me to
anybody.
vaccinate. Everyone was putting me on the pressure. Oh, you've been grasping for air for 3 weeks. Why don't you take it? I said, no, I have immunity now. I don't need to take it anymore.
I see. I got it.
It was a massive, massive farce. Brock, I got one more for you, and then I'll throw back to you for final words. Edgar Allan Poe, believe half of what you see and nothing that you hear. Have you heard this expression before, and what do you make of it?
Sorry, say again.
I got a quote here from Edgar Allan Poe. He says, "Believe only half of what you see and nothing that you hear." Have you heard this quote before? And what do you
Yeah.
do you relate to it? Do you believe it? What do you think about it?
Yeah. No, that's a great one. I mean, it's very applicable to social media as well, right? Most large account, you know, same narrative or whatever is bullshit. That's what you see, but show me. You know what I mean? You could apply it online. You could apply it in real life. You can apply it in many ways. Yeah, that's a great saying.
Do you have a favorite quote that serves you well or you find interesting?
All of my favorite quotes are from at Unconfined on Twitter.
Let's go. Brock, any final words, my friend, on any other topic? We're going to go to famous and then we'll close out the space.
No, I just want to apologize for nearly completely setting your space on fire for bringing up COVID, but because that'll always do it. Well, I don't want to bring it back up, but it would be interesting to see how they claimed after you got the virus. I'm not a scientist or in the medical field, so I don't know shit. But how they would claim after you've got it, you still need the vaccine. That, like you guys were saying, makes no sense to me. And
Yeah,
I'd
I
love
can
to
tell
see
you
the best presented
I can,
case for that.
yeah, I can tell you their argument. I don't think they had any data for it. The argument was, so once you catch it, you get antibodies. Okay, the antibodies are going to wear off. Was one argument, right? So you need to get a booster because your antibodies, even though you caught it naturally, it's going to wear off. So you need the booster. The other argument they were making, which is bullshit, is that the vaccine has better antibodies than the ones that you're going to get from getting it natural because it's been manufactured and blah, blah, blah. And you even heard them say this to Rogan. Rogan was there with the guy from, it might have been CNN, whatever. He's a famous heart surgeon. He was there and the heart surgeon's like, well, you should get vaccinated. Rogan's like, I've already caught it and I've already got over it. And the guy was like, well, the vaccine provides better immunity. And Rogan says, according to who? And he's like, well, it's a vaccine. It's been tested. And he's like, who said it provides better immunity? And then he goes, more immunity is better than less. So you've caught it. You got the antibodies. This will give you even more immunity. So that's like the argument they were making, If one steak is good, two steaks are better. That's kind of their argument. Which is not how immunology works.
No.
David's about to correct it,
No, it's not how it works. Also, they had no evidence. So, as you've heard me say many times, you posits must offend. They said these things with absolutely no evidence. For instance, the durability of the vaccine. There is no proof that the durability of the vaccine comes close to the durability of natural immunity. And one other thing to consider. You're talking
There
about
was proof in the opposite direction, is what there was. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And another thing is, we're talking about a vaccine. The reason why the polio vaccine was so successful is because it was not mutating. But the reason why so many people, and this is all up to you, I'm not your doctor, make your own choices. So many people don't get flu vaccines, for instance, is because it's a mutating virus. So you could get a flu vaccine and still catch the flu because it's a different iteration, permutation. In other words, it had mutated. And so it's a crapshoot. Remember, and it's funny because I had this conversation with my doctor too. I said, think this through. Just always do logical extension with people, and it'll be revelatory. And I said, what happens if I get a vaccine now? It'll be for something long in the future. That could be a mutation. So what's the answer to that? He said, well, then you'd get one of the boosters. So you're not just recommending that I get a vaccine. You're recommending that I stay on the vaccine forever. I mean, I can tell you who benefits from this. It's the pharmaceutical companies, right? And of course, what if I do nothing? Always ask yourself that question. This is what great chess players do, so they don't overreact. Ask, what if I do nothing? What is the consequences of doing nothing? The answer here, of course, is you're far better because the vaccine turned out to immunocompromise the patients. I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but people would get the vaccine and then they'd get sick over and over and over again, just general sickness. Well, what's that the result of? Compromised immune systems.
Yeah, and I had a friend at work, a guy from, I won't say exactly where, but he's roughly from India. And this guy never got sick. He had 5 kids, never got sick. He could eat any food he wanted. Everything was fine. Now, I know this is anecdotal, but he ended up getting the flu, like influenza vaccine, because they told him to get it. He said he felt, first of all, he got sick. Second of all, he would continually get sick all through the year. He got sick like 5 times in 1 year, which was unheard of for him. And you're right. The influenza shot, that's just as a money making bullshit. Unless you are, if you're an old man and you already got messed up, you got problems. Okay, fine. Maybe you need to take it. But if you're a young, healthy person, I'm not a doctor and this is not medical advice. But David is spot on.
The funniest part of it was the idea that you would, and this happened in America. I had family who were caught up in this nonsense. And by the way, they tortured themselves, pushed themselves almost to a divorce, all the lockdown, everything else. And in the words of Russell Brand, I just went on about living my life. I didn't do, I didn't do any of this stuff. I enjoyed every minute of my life with my wife. Didn't care about any of that. They said they couldn't come down to the state where I'm in, or I couldn't go there because a 2-week quarantine would need to be subsequent to that. And I laughed and I said, you do understand that the borders between our respective states are actually imaginary lines. Do you not understand this? Do you understand how ridiculous it is what you're saying? What about people who actually live on the border? Every time they drive 5 miles, do they come back in quarantine for 2 weeks? Don't you understand the consecutive contiguity of each 10-mile stretch all the way to where you live, and people are mixing and matching? But it's just amazing because he was convinced without reason, is seldom dissuaded with it. And that's what we're talking about here.
Fact check
Well,
true.
and in Canada, that 2-week or was it 2 weeks? I forget. If they would send people to show up at your door, and if you weren't doing it, you could be fined up to $1 million. So that was cool.
When I realized Canada was fucked was during the trucker thing. Freezing people, not just freezing truckers' bank accounts, but if you gave money to the truckers, I didn't go deep into it, but I think even people that gave money got in trouble. You got in trouble for giving money to the truckers. Very, very strange behavior from the Canadians, not gonna lie.
Yeah, and there is a cure for all of this, right? You take all the politicians and you quarantine them in an area. We'll call it a camp, okay? And you build a wall around it about twice as high, and as necessary. But you don't put any doors in. And when you hear them scratching from the inside and begging for food, you just ignore all of that. And then all of a sudden, everybody else gets way better. I don't understand how that works.
I think I saw
It's
that movie, David. Wasn't it called Escape from New York?
Yes, we're all Snake Plissken trying to rescue our brothers.
great film.
That's right, Ski Bum. I've thought of the same thing.
Great film. Brock, any final words, brother? Follow Brock notifications on. Very interesting young man. Check out his timeline, all that good stuff.
Don't do that. My page is annoying and it sucks, but I appreciate it. No, that's all, Hitch. Thanks, dude.
Let's go. Thanks for joining, brother. Really, really appreciate it. Speaking of the people I appreciate, we've got Famous. He runs 24-hour spaces every Wednesday, spaces during the week. Subscriptions open. Buy me coffee in his link. Excellent young man. Gets compliments everywhere he goes. Very warm, welcoming, family-friendly space. Check him out. Famous, how's it going, brother?
I'm fine, Hitch. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Really enjoying the space. As always, I'm here to help you land the plane. So I'm not going to launch into my 10-hour autobiography and insist that you hear all the thoughts I've ever thought in my whole life. No, I'm here to help you land the plane, man. We can do a lightning round.
I love the
Before
lightning round. I was just going to say, you do an awesome lightning round if you're comfortable, and then I'll give you final words at the end.
Okay, let's do a lightning round, Hitch.
Let's go. So, believe only half of what you see and nothing that you hear. Edgar Allan Poe, what do you make of that?
Right on, right on, right on. I'm skeptical. I will listen with my full attention, and then I'll make up my own mind. Thank you.
Very cogent and apt. I'm asking people for their favorite saying, favorite expression, favorite quote. Do you have a favorite one that comes to mind?
Yes. A gentleman called George Santayana said, "The earth has music for those who listen."
Absolutely beautiful. I love that. Honestly, that's beautiful.
Cool. Next one.
Pink tax. Do you think the pink tax is a product of manufacturing costing more, or a company just gouging women?
I think it is a perfectly understandable part of capitalism. An corporation is a profit-seeking entity. I don't think a corporation really gives a damn about gender, except if they can make more profit. So I think women have been marketed at heavily to always doubt their looks and the beauty standards, and on and on and on and on and on. And corporations hire big brain psycho guys and psychoanalytics and psychographics and blah blah blah, and they figured out, okay, you know what, we can gouge some more profit. And I don't think it's to punish women; it's to earn more profit, so that the quarterly annual statements look good, and so the CEO and everybody gets their annual bonuses, and life goes on. That's all I think it is.
Profit would probably explain some amount of variance for sure. Very, very cogent. We're asking people earlier, if two women show up at a party with the same dress, the two women rage. If two men show up in the same shirt, they high five each other. Why do you think that women get so, perturbed by the women wearing the same dress?
Kind of, I hadn't heard that question. I would just bounce back to what I've said previously. Women and the beauty standards and the
Intersexual female competition.
Yeah, that. I just put it down to that. Yeah, nothing deeper.
Yeah. Makes sense. Men and women cooking. Women, tomato sauce, pasta sauce all over the walls, oil everywhere, mess everywhere. Women's wardrobes upside down, inside out, back to front. On average, not to load the question or bias the question, but who do you think's more neat on average, men or women?
I don't have any sample size to make that call. My own life, I've been super neat. I spent 10 years in the military. You better believe everything was impeccable. There have been times where I could care less about stuff. When I was married, sometimes she was very neat. Sometimes she was the sloppy one and I'd clean up. I don't know. I got nothing one way or another about men or women, more neater or sloppier. I got nothing. Next.
That's it. All done from me. I want to throw to you for final words. Maybe let us know how your space went Wednesday. How'd you enjoy it? And then, finish off with anything you like.
Sure. Well, before I talk about this space, I want to say I've really enjoyed it here. And I don't know if she's still here, but a lady named Gretchen told just an absolutely hilarious story about a first date. So even in her app, there you are, Gretchen. What a story. Thank you for that, Gretchen. That was hilarious. And I think Tommy was his name. I think as potentially scary as that could have been for you, Tommy did you and himself a favor. Because think about it. Tommy lays it all out. He puts it all out on the table right from the get-go. And I'm sure Tommy has figured out that if I do that, if any woman ever agrees to a second date after I give them all of that, well, then she's probably the one. So I think Tommy is saving everybody a whole lot of time by laying it all out there. Criminal record, the false teeth, the whole shebang. Because if you, Gretchen, if you had gone for a second date, that would have said a whole lot about how much you really like Tommy. So I'm sure he's used to very few second dates, maybe none. But maybe he's gambling that if there ever is a 1 second date, that'll be the one for Tommy.
You know, I'll never
Now,
forget him. I will never forget that date. It was very unique.
yeah,
It stands out, and I'll carry it with me always.
I
yeah. So
think famous
shout out to you, and
famous
better
is
luck
onto something.
going forward. And good and shout out to Tommy wherever he is. Yeah, go ahead, Fitch.
I was say famous is onto something there. That's his dating strategy. To if he ever gets a second date, he'll know it's with the one.
Yeah.
Tell us
Real
about your
quick.
space on Wednesday, and then we will
Okay.
close that space.
I won't zero in on any specific topic, but it was for me as a host, very absorbing, intellectually stimulating, a lot of fun. And I am finding steadily, week by week by week, David has come in and made some wonderful contributions. We've had a lot of fun. You show up ski. What I have found is that after about the 1 year mark of doing the 24-hour marathons, since January, there has been a steady, but just for me, very subjectively, a steady rise in the quality of the spaces. And I don't take credit for that. I'm the same guy. I might have learned a little bit, but basically the quality of the guests and the quality of discussions and the absence of the trolls and disruptors. And so fingers crossed, I'm going to keep on going. And I thank everybody who shows up to contribute. Speakers, co-hosts, listeners, anonymous, public, whatever it is, I am quite enjoying. And the feedback I get in the hundreds and thousands is that there's something there that some people enjoy. So I'm going to keep doing my part and and soldier on. So thank you very much, man. Thanks for the shout out. Thanks for coming by and support. You, David Ski, all of you. I don't have to tell you. You all know what I do. And if you don't, just feel free, check it out. And thanks, Hitch. And
Thank you,
with
brother.
that,
Follow famous notifications on. Check out his content and his spaces. I swung by, but I was a bit busy this time. I couldn't speak, but I listened for as long as I could, and it was a
yes.
great space. I see a few people requesting. I'm sorry I can't take new speakers because I need to close the space and I need to go to subscriber space. And you can hear in my voice, I'm a little tired. We are going to go to my last. We're going to give final words to the co-host. Then I'm going to take a 20-minute break, and then I'll post the subscriber group. I'll post the subscriber space in my group chat, or you can just check on my timeline. So as I said, take a 20-minute break, and then we'll be ready to go. Need to finish off the rest of my dinner because I didn't get to finish it because I was starting the space. We got Ski and we got David. Let's go. David, thanks for hosting, my friend. Really enjoyed the conversation with you earlier. Big brain, very perspicacious. Always appreciate you, brother. Any final words? Anything you want to leave us with, and then we will give Ski the final word.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, I just really enjoyed visiting you as always. I will say for everyone else, this was the first space I ever went into. So I had the misapprehension that all spaces were just as good as this one. But at least the one thing that I was inspired by, and I think you too, famous, is that if you pursue the spaces that make you feel good, if you don't pursue the drama, then you'll get a good experience on X. And that's what I do. So I've limited myself to high quality spaces, generally with kind people that like ideas, like the discussion of ideas. But you are preeminent in that regard, Hitch Slap. So I really enjoyed my time here today.
The feeling's mutual. I've been letting you jump the queue since you had like 9 followers because you're an excellent speaker. And when people would accuse me of grifting towards big accounts, I would use David as a shield and I would say, David's got 9 followers, and I always let him speak first because he's a good speaker, not because he's a big account. But now that you've got like you're heading over 10K, whatever, I can't do that anymore. But you've always been an excellent speaker, a wonderful contributor. And and I'm happy to call you my friend. So thank you, brother. Really, really appreciate it. Let's go. Speaking of people I really appreciate, Ski Bum Dad, absolute legend, here every week, helps me out, gives me a break. Ski, any final words, my friend? And I do want you to please tell us, when is your next space, Sonic Boom Radio? Where can people find it? When is the next one? Who will you be having? And anything else you want to say about the space? Go ahead. You have the final word.
Well, I dropped it in the pill so I don't have to go over it. Anybody who wants to take a look, tonight is the epic Sonic Boom radio show where we feature AI music from our community. Anybody that's on the fence about AI music, I encourage you to check it out. You'll get to see firsthand that music's music. If it makes you tap your feet, move your hips, and you enjoy it. Plus, you get a chance to meet the creators because we have a little bit of chit chat. And then tomorrow, a good friend and a lady who's been a active member of the community since the beginning, Liz Roberts, is our featured guest on the Sonic Boom Showcase tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central. And for the sake of brevity, I'll just leave you with one final thought. Don't fry bacon naked.
Don't fry bacon naked is excellent, excellent advice. Try saying that 3 times fast. Sonic Boom Radio, follow, scare notifications on. Check it out. Let me update the title. That's it. I'm going to take a 20-minute break. Then I'll be back with the subscriber space. Thank you to everyone. Really appreciate all the speakers. We got David, we got Ski, we got Gretchen with a hilarious story. We got Brock, the master of economics. We got famous king of the 24-hour space. And we've got Big Brain Nico as well. And Maritia, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu legend. Don't mess with her. Thank you, everyone. Next, I'm not back next Tuesday. I'll be back next Saturday. This Tuesday, Nico will be doing a Spaces for Beginners type deal. Check it out. Otherwise, 20-minute break, and I'll see you guys in a subscriber space. Thank you, everyone. Love you guys. Chat to you soon. Ciao.